hockey, and the Penguins seem to match up well with those kinds of teams when they have to play big games, and that's what we're looking for here tonight, to see the Penguins respond to the challenge, and that might be just what they need to get going.
Well, the Flyers certainly are the challenge because they are the best team right now overall in the National Hockey League. We invite you to sit back, relax. We'll have it for you. It's all coming up right here on the Penguins Hockey Network. Injury, Norm Schmidt with a bad hand, Mike Blaisdell and Warren Young. And for the Philadelphia Flyers, their scratches include Ed Hospodar and Scott Mellenby. Brian Propp is out with an injured knee, and he'll be lost to this club for about 8 weeks, and that's a big loss for the Philadelphia Flyers.
That's right. He was their leading scorer, but the Flyers have such a machine-like hockey club that it doesn't seem to affect them all that much. They're able to fill in and come up and pick up the slack. Roberto Romano gets the start tonight for the Penguins.
And his counterpart will be the rookie and the big sensation of the National Hockey League this year, Ron Hextall, who has played in 27 games to date, 19-6-2. Margie Benzick will sing our national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Penguins on this year are 1-1 against Philadelphia. The Flyers have suffered only 7 losses all year long. Bob Myers working tonight's game. He's the referee, and Gerard Gauthier will be joined by Kevin Collins to work the lines. Backup goaltender for the Flyers now is Chico Resch, with Bob Prose departing to the New York Rangers in exchange for defenseman Shel Samuelson. And Samuelson is in uniform for the Flyers tonight. Will wear number 28. He will be hard to miss. He is 6'6", and you'll be able to see him. And as we describe him, he will start the game for the Flyers.
Well, Samuelson, the tallest man in the National Hockey League at 6'6", and the shortest man in the National Hockey League is standing in goal for the Penguins, Roberto Romano, with a record of 3.45. Goals against, that is. His record 9-7-1.
Penguins going to a lot of line changes for tonight's game. John Shabbat joined by Ron Duguay and Dave Hannon to start the game against Dave Poulin out here for the Flyers. Poulin against Shabbat, and again the goaltenders, Ron Hextall and Roberto Romano.
Well, Ronnie Hextall, one of the most active goalies you'll ever see, and he's just flying around in that goal crease trying to get ready for this game.
Derek Smith and Tim Kerr on the wings for Dave Poulin. The Penguins win the faceoff and drop it into the Flyers zone. Hextall in goal wearing number 27. Around the left wing, steers it over to Poulin. Trying to go right wing with a high-scoring Tim Kerr. Kerr touches that puck. It'll be called back on an offside play against the Philadelphia Flyers. Hextall comes into the game 19-6-2, a league-leading 2.53 goals against average. The Penguins, Romano, 9-7-1 and 3.45. The Flyers are the best defensive club in the NHL. They've allowed only 80 goals on the year. Their closest competitor in that department, the Hartford Whalers, who have allowed just 94, and the Whalers are in first place in the Adams division. The numbers lifetime are really almost hard to believe what the Flyers have done to the Penguins over the years, now in the 20th year in the National Hockey League. Mantha forced to his own end, drills it up ahead to John Shabbat. And Shabbat carries it to center red. He'll drive it into the Flyers zone. Hextall handles it. Play it off the boards. And Poulin pokes it back to center ice. Billy Searin defensively for the Penguins. Wind it back in behind Hextall. The Flyers have won 71 games lifetime against the Penguins while losing only 27. Pins in front, and Shabbat with a chance. That's stopped by Hextall. Got it on the short side. The record overall, the Flyers 71. The Penguins have won 27, and there have been 17 ties. But here at the arena, Flyers lead the series 23, 22, and 12.
Well, John Shabbat just had a good scoring chance, and the reason he had it was that Hextall, who really has had 3 or 4 opportunities already to move that puck with his stick, fired it up off the glass, and it came bouncing and took a funny hop off the glass and came right to Chabot, and he circled in front and was able to get a shot on Hextall and went down to make the save on him. Hextall really active with that stick. He can shoot the puck the length of the ice and probably hit the glass at the opposite end of the rink. That's how much power he has on his wrist shot. And when he clears that puck from behind his net, he doesn't just simply push it up around the boards. He hammers it off the boards. He even gets it up in the air and banks it to his wingers heading up out of their own zone. So he can be like another defenseman out there for the Flyers.
Peter Zezel now at center ice for the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers win the draw, and McCrimmon shoots it wide of the net. Comes in front, though. Look out, Dave Brown. There is shot. Romano stops him. It bounces free, and Lemieux of Pittsburgh trying to get it out. Does. Drive it off the board. Well, the Flyers came that close to scoring as Dave Brown had a chance right in front of Romano. And the puck up into the penalty box area at center ice.
Well, we talked a lot about Tim Kerr and the power that he has around that goal cage. You got to figure Dave Brown can be a pretty awesome figure in that crease also. He's 6'5", 205, and he was parked right in front and was trying to poke away at that puck, get it underneath from Romano. It did get out from underneath him, but it did not go across the line. Roberto was able to reach out with that arm and keep it from going across the goal line. Actually, it just rolled harmlessly across along the line. Romano really never even had to touch it. It just rolled to safety, and then Mario was right there to clean up the garbage and get out of there with it.
Lemieux with Dwight Schofield on the left wing, and the right winger is Terry Ruskowski for the pin. So we had expected to see Bob Erie on the left wing of this line, but Schofield comes out to play left wing. And back to center come the Flyers. Fired away to the Penguin left wing corner. Dave Brown went in. Brown throw it off the boards. The matchup here, of course, has Schofield against Dave Brown. There's a message there from both these clubs. Darryl Stanley playing up front for the Flyers. Now it comes from the slot to Zezel. Backhand shot. That was deflected. Mantha takes the puck, roll it around the boards. And can Ruskowski get it out? He can't for a moment. It does now. Hop free back to center. Jim Johnson shoots it up to the Flyers line. Mark Howe. And played it up into the Flyers bench area.
Well, Schofield has been a defenseman for most of his career. He played up on the left wing with the Capitals a little bit, but you know it's going to be an adjustment for him, not only not having played in very many games at all this year as it is, but also this is the first time he's really had a chance to play on the left wing. It's only his 5th game since coming off arthroscopic knee surgery.
The numbers on the series, again, the Flyers winning 71 times, the Penguins 27 and 17 ties. That tells you the Penguins, we told you they've won 23 times against the Flyers here. They've won only 4 games at the Spectrum in Philadelphia since they came into the league. Flyers coming to center. Ron Sutter out here now, and the Flyers are offside. All right, we'll take a timeout. No score in the first period. This is the Penguins Hockey Network. The Flyers countering here with Ron Sutter's unit with Lindsey Carson and Rick Tocchet. This is a pretty good line the Flyers have. Quinn shoots it up left wing to Cunneyworth. He tried to get around Samuelson. It's dropped off to Quinn. His shot on. Save. A rebound. And Bodger shoots it off the glove of Ron Hextall. Around to the near boards. Flyers ice. Can the Penguins keep it in? They do to Bodger. His shot blocked. Comes in front. Lindstrom couldn't get enough behind it. Quinn centers. And the Flyers pick it off. Ron Sutter. Sutter going to center ice. He'll blast the puck into the Penguin zone. It goes by Romano behind the net to the left wing corner. Brad Marsh worked his way in from that blue line area to stop it in the corner. Now he's trapped. The Penguins come out. Cunneyworth. Lead pass too far for the Penguin left winger. Samuelson and Cunneyworth collide. They both go down, and the Flyers have possession of the puck at center ice. Ron Sutter to Rick Tocchet. His pass behind Lindsey Carson. But the Penguins give it right back to Tocchet. Tocchet of Philadelphia shoots it into the Penguins' end, and the Flyers trying to go to a line change. Dan Frawley flips it off the boards. We'll get a look at Craig Simpson back at center ice now for the Penguins. Lemieux is out here right now with Dan Frawley and Kevin LaValle. Now LaValle's in front of the net, moves in, his shot, and Hextall just robbed him with the blocking glove. Big save by Ron Hextall as LaValle was in home free, right down the slot set up by the pen. Hextall takes the puck behind his own net, wristed off the glass, and out he comes.
Boy, LaValle made some nice moves on Hextall, too.
Lemieux to the right wing, fires in. Slap shot coming up, and down to his knees was Hextall to get a piece of that. Knock it wide of the goal. Flyers come storming back. Sinisalo behind Jim Johnson. Into the Penguin zone. Stop on the near board. Looking for a trailer. Johnson's after him. He'll belt him with a check. Now Lemieux digging for the puck. Back to the right point. And McCrimmon can't get to it. The Penguins will. Frawley deals it long up the glove of Hextall. Penguins trying to make some changes here. LaValle is pulled down by Mark Howe. Play goes on. The Flyers have it. Right wing to Sinisalo. Sinisalo pulls up at the Penguin blue line, drops into the near corner. Billy Searin over to Doug Bodger. Bodger to Lemieux, back 3-on-2 with Duguay and Hannon. Lemieux into the Flyers in left side, drop pass to Hannon, his shot, and he missed the goal. Boy, Lemieux set him up nicely, but Dave Hannon simply missed the net. Flyers ice the puck. Back to get it will be Bodger. And we've got icing against Philadelphia. No score, first period here on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, the Penguins have outshot the Flyers 7-1. And the big save was the one that Hextall made on Kevin LaValle. He swung to his right. LaValle did like he was going to go to his backhand, kept it on the forehand. And Hextall, very tall, about 6'3", and he was able to do the splits and get that right pad out and stop LaValle from point-blank range. A big save, and boy, that goaltending early in a hockey game on the road can be so important.
Penguins win the draw again, Philadelphia ice. And Billy Searin over to John Shabbat, trying to go to Duguay. Duguay looking back. Lemieux stayed out extra time on that shift with Duguay and Hannon. Duguay tried to put it in the slot, does. Kerr had it, but he lost possession. The Penguins keep it in. Shabbat trying to go to Duguay. It's off the heel of his stick. And the Flyers work it back into Penguin ice. Islanders lead the Rangers 2-1 in the first period on the US Air scoreboard. Flatley and Sutter scoring for the Islanders. Here's a play in front of the Penguin net. It's knocked wide of the goal and then knocked back to center circle. Doug Crossman of the Flyers couldn't make a play. Shabbat drags it into Philly ice. Around Crossman coming for the net. Backhander. Oh, what a save again by Hextall. Boy, he read that perfectly. Great save by the young rookie goaltender Ron Hextall on John Shabbat, who wheeled in the slot around Crossman and got that good backhander off.
Well, we talked about how he can play like a defenseman. Hextall looked like a defenseman on that, playing the forward. He came out and just was turning with Shabbat as he came cutting across that crease, using his skates and coming out towards the shooter, and then turning and getting the glove down low along the ice to scoop up that shot by Shabbat and hang on for the faceoff. Ronnie Hextall, who was the son of Brian Hextall, played for the Penguins from the 69-70 season through 1974. His uncle Dennis Hextall also played in the NHL, as did his granddaddy, I believe, and just a generation of Hextalls have made names for themselves in the NHL. Ronnie really may be the best of all of them, though, before he's done.
The kind of play in the early going by Hextall is the reason why Bob Froese is now a New York Ranger. Because the Flyers apparently will go with Hextall as their #1 man all the year. Now, the thing about it is, as a rookie goaltender, will he run into a slump somewhere along the line? But the Flyers are building such a big lead, I don't know if it's really going to affect them or not. Now, along the near side, and they've got a backup goaltender who has some experience and who can play as a backup in Chico Resch. Penguins feed it to center. Erie behind the defense, but it'll be called back on a two-line pass. Erie touching that puck. Set up by Ruskowski, but the two-line pass brings it back into Pittsburgh territory.
Hextall was in goal the night the Penguins beat the Flyers here earlier in the year on October 25th. The Penguins did not beat the Flyers all last season, and Bob Froese had, what, a 14-game winning streak or 13-game winning streak against the Penguins. So the Pens, although they may have to face him in a New York Ranger uniform, have to be happy to see him go, particularly when they go into the Spectrum, where it always seems Froese would play and always shut them down. I mean, Hextall took the loss, though, the 4-2 loss on October 25th.
Mike Keenan, the Flyers coach, watches on as this club and the Penguins are scoreless. Keenan, now in his third year, has a record of 129, 50, and 13. Not bad. Lemieux with Bob Erie now and Terry Ruskowski. That line is united by Coach Bob Berry. Peter Zezel working here with Darrell Stanley on left wing and Dave Brown on the right side. Penguins on their own in after the draw. Lemieux carries it back to center. Scoreless game. Trying to go through everybody. Could not do it. The Flyers tap it back to center ice. Jim Johnson with a giveaway to Dave Brown, the 6'5" right winger. And a poke check off his stick. Now he'll backhand it away to the Penguin zone. Rod Buskus still playing with a bad shoulder. Send it along to Flyers territory. J.J. Daigneault. Wheel it up to Doug Crossman. He'll come down the left wing on the far side. Shoot it wide of the Penguin net from long range. Tocchet has it. He's trying to put it back in front of the net. Cunnyworth steers it wide for the Penguins. Back to center. Quinn of the Penguins cuts his way into the Flyers in. Man went down. Daigneault. Quinn holds the puck. Now shoot it up a body. It comes up into the seats here, and we're going to stop and play.
Talking about that trade, Dan Quinn also traded, of course, coming over from the Calgary Flames to the Penguins, playing with new line mates here tonight. Willie Lindstrom, at least one of them is a new line mate, and Willie Lindstrom on the right wing. Quinn made a neat play there coming into the Flyers zone, slammed on the brakes, trying to set somebody up into the slot. Anyway, talking about the trade with Shel Samuelson, Mike Keenan, and the reason they got him, they're so happy to get a big, tall defenseman like him, is because he said that most of their defensemen are not big. With the exception of Brad Marsh, they mostly had guys who were the 5'9", 5'10" variety, 185 and 190 pounds, and now they have that balance of the big, tall defenseman and the smaller guy, and they can make a combination that way with the big and the small if they want, and there's just a lot more versatility there on defense now for the Flyers.
Año after the face-off in the Flyers zone. Send it across to Doug Crossman. And up to center to Pelle Eklund. Left wing. Looking for Kerr. Kerr is bumped by Siren. Eklund has the puck. Poulin's on here too. He centers it for Poulin. Off his stick, Dave Poulin. Put it back between the circles and Shabbat steals. Down the right wing to Duguay. Offside coming up against the Penguins. And it's worked back outside the line. So the delayed offside is waved off. Billy Siren going to Dave Hannon, and that is an offside play. And with the offside call against the Pens, we'll break. No score, first period. Faceoff will be outside the Flyers line. The Penguins again out shooting Philadelphia 8-1. This Flyers hockey club has played 20 games already at home. Their record 18-2 there. On the road, but 12. They're 5-5-2 on the road. They've got a lot of road games coming up. Penguins are 10-4-2 here at home and 5-8-2 on the road. And the Pens at the Flyer line. Flip it towards the net. It's loose in front. Now cleared by Samuelson. Mantha put it back into the zone. Another offside call. Play has been kind of sloppy here in the early going between these two clubs. That's the Penguin record, of course, at home here. 23, 22, and 12. Dan Quinn. Boston that comes out of center. Breaks in alone by himself. He shoots. He in it off the pipe to the left of Romano. Ron Sutter with a chance there. Breaking in behind the defense from the faceoff. But the puck caught the pipe to the left of Romano. The Penguins got a break there. And that will not go as a shot on goal either. Markal back to his own line for the Flyers to Brad McCrimmon. McCrimmon, who is a plus 27 for this hockey club, came to join them.
Amazing.
Right, and signed late in the season, has played only 23 games and already is a plus 27. And he's paired with a pretty good guy out here. The two top guys in the NHL last year, Howe and McCrimmon. And the puck shot wide of the net. It's defenseman by the Pens. Tocchet spin it back to center circle. After that puck will be Jim Johnson. We've got a penalty coming up here. Penalty coming up. I think both Quinn and Ron Sutter, I think, will be going off here. 12:05 left in the first period. No score on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, Ronnie Sutter and Dan Quinn off for coincidental minors, and Ronnie Sutter won a big face-off a minute ago and then took the puck across the blue line, walked in on Romano, and shot it down low on the glove side, hit the goalpost, tried to get his own rebound, cutting right to the net, but it went right by him. And then a moment later, he goes to the penalty box along with Dan Quinn. Quinn goes off for holding, Sutter off for elbowing at 17:50. That's not right, 7:55.
Chicago breaks on top of Boston 1-0 at the Garden in Boston on the US Air scoreboard. Here we're scoreless, and both clubs at equal strength right now. Samuelson paired with Brad Marsh, and the Flyers' Dave Brown handles the puck. Going to Zezel into the Penguins' end. Zezel down around Bodger, shoots it on. Romano makes the save down low. The rebound, Brown got a chance, and Romano stops that too.
Well, it looked like Zezel was offside on that play. Maybe not. It might have just been an illusion, but it looked like he was ahead of the puck and dragged it across the blue line as he was going in, but maybe not. Anyway, Zezel came around Doug Bodger and pushed the puck on net. Romano down on his knees made the save, and the rebound came right out, and Billy Siren was right on. Dave Brown was able to get that rebound first, and Romano got it and covered up.
Zezel got what you would call an example of a half a step right there on Bodger, which can lead to goals, and that's all you need in this game. He put it on. Romano made the save, but just that half a step, that little edge, and to get just enough room to shoot the puck, and then hopefully maybe somebody would follow up if it doesn't get by the goaltender on the initial shot. Now played around right wing boards. Craig Simpson of the Penguins. Now Simpson's out here on right wing. We thought we would see Simpson a lot at center ice tonight. He's been playing in practice the last couple of days at center, but it's not been the case at all. Now picked up by Zezel in the Penguin near corner. Bodger hammers in with a check. Keeps on coming. He's got that great strength and good legs. Real strong legs, too, from the soccer days when he played a lot of soccer. Ruskowski coming down the left wing. Trying to drop it over. Karam's off a leg. Simpson shoots it around. Ruskowski and Simpson. Now Ruskowski hammers one of the Flyers and knocks him down. Simpson was hit on the play, and Ruskowski comes in, and he's in a battle right now, I believe, with Dave Brown. Dave Brown and Terry Ruskowski. Now, somebody took a shot at one of the pins on the near boards.
I think it was Zezel who did that, and it was Craig Simpson. Simpson was coming towards the glass, and suddenly Zezel exploded into him, and he's a tremendous body checker. He's got those incredibly strong legs, probably from his soccer experience playing with the Toronto Blizzard, but it was actually Brown and Zezel, probably, no, it was Derek Smith, actually, who came in and gave Simpson the shot. He came bouncing right back off the boards to get after him, too. So, I think Zezel got a piece of him, but it looked like it was Derek Smith that really got the big piece out. Let's take a break. There's no score yet in the first period on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Dave Brown of the Flyers, a roughing call. Ruskowski picks up a minor penalty for charging. 8:43 the time. And this, again, will not affect the play on the ice. John Shabbat with Ron Duguay now and Dave Hannon. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? We were kind of led really to believe that Craig Simpson was going to see a lot of time at center ice. At least it hasn't happened here in the first period of play.
Well, Simpson really is a center, and he's been playing the right wing with Mario, and if there's anything that probably would surprise you, it's the fact that Simpson has such a great plus-minus record right now. He is a +12 in the Penguins. He's leading in that category. He seems to have adjusted well and playing the wing in his own end, although now he seems to be having more problems going the other way, sometimes cutting into the middle, not staying wide. And I think, if anything, that's probably what they're looking for Craig to do a little bit more of, try to swing wide and go in the holes more in behind the defense instead of cutting across to the middle coming into the attacking zone.
Shabbat won the draw. Johnson puts it on the net, and Ron Hextall held it long enough for a face-off. And the face-off again will be to the right of Ron Hextall, the Flyers netminder. Hextall's save percentage at .915. Chico Resch at .930, an extraordinarily high number. And a look at the U.S. Air scoreboard. Chicago over Boston 2-0. Denny Savard has added a goal. Islanders lead the Rangers 2-1 in the first period. Here we are scoreless at the Civic Arena. John Shabbat of the Penguins from the faceoff, trying to drop it to Dave Hannon. It's picked off by Philadelphia, and they leave it back at center where the Penguins gather in again. Mantha trying to beat three men. Cannot do that. Kerr had it poked off his stick. Duguay back to Hannon in the Flyers zone. Winded around the boards, near side, and Philadelphia comes up with it. Poulin pushes it up ahead to J.J. Daigneault, defenseman for the Flyers. He is stopped on the play by Jim Johnson. And the Penguins whip it back to the Flyers line. They give it away to Mo Mantha. Mantha had it deflected by Dave Poulin down the left wing. Man cutting for the net. Kerr, look out. Bodger recovered nicely to get in front of the pass by Dave Poulin. Behind the Penguin goal, centering pass by Kerr, loose in front, and it comes right to John Shabbat, who cleans up his own end. Directed up to Dan Frawley. Now to Bob Erie. Swinging down the off wing, right side. Hit by Howe, and he goes off his skates. Hextall plays the puck. The Flyer goaltender to the far corner. Erie's in digging for it. Frawley's in there, too. Gives it to Erie. Cuts out, trying to go to the net. He's pulled down. There'll be a penalty coming up against Rick Tonkin of the Flyers. And the Pens will get a power play situation here. Lindsey Carson ran into the linesman, Gerard Gauthier. There's a Murray Craven who'll be sent off. Yep, Murray Craven's a guilty party.
Well, Bob Erie was swinging out to the left of Hextall, trying to cut in front of that net on the forehand. And Murray Craven saw him and just hauled him down. So Craven goes to the box. And the Penguins with their first power play chance of the night. Bob Erie really hustling his way out from behind that net, trying to cut in front. When Craven held him, and that's the penalty. 10:04.
Penguins go to the power play, a Stroh's power play, and a scoreless game here in the first period. Craig Simpson will come out and handle the faceoff. Kevin LaValle and Mario Lemieux. Up front also, Bodger and Mantha take the points. Penguins 7th in the NHL on the power play. And the Flyers penalty killing is 6th.
Bob Plummer of Pittsburgh is our contestant on the Stroh's power play, going for $100.
Mantha from the faceoff at the Flyers zone. Had the puck, trying to work it by Zezel. Still loose, and now Brad Marsh of Philadelphia directed up. The Flyers have 11 shorthanded goals on the year. You've got to be careful. Penguins have allowed 4. A check by Poulin on Bodger sent Bodger to his wallet. Back in behind the Penguin net. And it's worked around to the near corner. Remember, the Penguins have a power play right now. Mantha, rink-wide pass to Kevin LaValle. It's too hard. It's off his stick. And it goes back to the Penguin net. And reminding you also that Mantha is playing with a very, very bad wrist, a chip fracture still in his wrist, and he's playing still. And it's tough for him to make passes and shoot the puck. There's just no secret about that. He's playing with an injury. Down the right wing goes Mario Lemieux. Into the Flyers end. Dump it off to Mantha. Mantha across Into the slot for Simpson, trying to hold the puck. Double team by two of the Flyers. Got it to Lemieux. He turns, lays it in front. Nobody there. LaValle goes after it. Right point to Bodger. Near side, Mantha. Wrist in the corner. Over to Kevin LaValle. LaValle behind the net for Mario Lemieux. It comes to LaValle. Right point to Bodger. Bodger shoots it, deflected right to Zezel. He'll take his time and just slide it up the board. Pass it up for Ron Sutter. Sutter shorthanded. Checked from behind by Doug Bodger. Flyers again put it to the near corner of the Pittsburgh end. And play his whistle. The Sutter was on top of it. We'll get the face-off outside of the Penguin line.
Well, you almost have to wonder if the way Zezel threw that pass up the middle, if he wasn't trying to find Ronnie.
Oh, he was. No question about it. He waited because he looked to shoot the puck up ice, and he spotted him out of the corner of his eye, and there's no question. He waited, banked it off the board, so he had a chance for a possible breakaway. Yeah, that was a well-planned play there by Zezel.
It's amazing how the Flyers work that way in those situations, and that is why they score shorthanded goals, because they're thinking offensively when they get the puck. They're not just thinking get it and throw it up ice. They're also looking around to see if they might have a play. And, of course, Ron Sutter has to be the one thinking there, too. He knew right where to go, right where the pass might come from off those boards.
8:43 to go in the period. 47 seconds to go on the Craven penalty. Everybody else is out of the penalty boxes now. Quinn and Ruskowski for the Pens, Sutter, and, of course, Brown for the Flyers. They've served their time. Siren back in behind his own net for the Penguins. Up left wing for Jim Johnson. Siren and Johnson take the points. Tocchet checking on Jim Johnson. Ramsey with a shoulder check. Shabbat, though, left wing to Hannon. Cuts his way into Flyers' eyes. Shabbat, drop pass for Lemieux. Center point, got a man wide open, Siren. His shot deflected by Hannon and went wide. Hextall clears the puck away to Howe. He tried to clear it out. Good play by Siren to keep it in. Over to Shabbat. Tried to go back to Siren. Does. Knocks it down with a glove. To Shabbat, right wing circle. Doesn't shoot it. To Siren again. Somebody's got to shoot it. He will. That's a go, and Hextall snapped it down low. No rebound at all, and Hextall really coming to life here in this first period. He's been very impressive.
Well, I'll tell you, one thing that really is amazing is the way Billy Siren can hold the puck in, coming out along the boards when players try to clear it in penalty-killing situations, and he's on the power play. He can hold it in with a backhand of his stick, prevent it from leaving the zone. And he did that and was able to get the Penguins another chance at Ronnie Hextall. Siren prefers to play that right side. He's a left-handed shot, and you can see why. He really handles that play particularly well. A lot of defensemen who have to play on the opposite side of how they shoot would have trouble stopping that puck coming out on the backhand. It's a difficult play to make.
Bodger and Siren are the two Penguin point men now. And a discussion going on. Shabbat, Duguay, and Hannon, they're not used to playing like this in the power play. That's why they're talking to one another. A lot of new faces in lines here tonight for the Pens. Poulin against Shabbat. And Gerard Gauthier saw something he didn't like, and he blows the whistle. The linesman, somebody cheated. Hextall from the face-off. Look at him whack it right up ice. That is a big plus, no question. Kelly Rudy of the Islanders very good with a stick, but Hextall's even stronger, and he's got the size, too. He's got the body to work with it. Bodger. Penalty has expired now. And the Flyers back to equal strength. The Penguins skated into the Flyers zone. Leave it in the near corner. Hannon hit on a check by Brad Marsh. They both go down. Duguay follows on. Penalty coming up here. And apparently it'll be against Brad Marsh. Marsh is going off. And the Penguins have a second power play chance. And we will take a timeout. No score. First period on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Deal.
Now Brad Marsh is banished to the penalty box for high sticking at 12:28. He really threw what looked like a clean check on Dave Hannon in the corner. And I'm not sure he really ever got the stick up on that one. He was going down. He actually fell down, too, after he hit Hannon and was just holding the stick at the very end, and it was up in the air as he went down, but it didn't look like high sticking.
Well, I don't think it was a very good call by Myers, and the Flyers will have to pay the price right now, and the Penguins will try and take advantage of it. Not a good penalty call there. Mantha, now see, that's going to even it up. That's exactly what happened. Myers knew it after he made the call, and it comes right back to give one to the Penguins to even it up. It happens. I mean, you're human, and he realizes it. The Flyers barked enough at him, and I think with everybody talking to him, he realized, hey, I made a mistake, and he comes right back now as you watch Jim Johnson come in. Now, here's one here. There's no more a holding call. I mean, Zezel helped draw that penalty, too, so that evens up. And I think Zezel, knowing the situation, knew full well that he might get a penalty call.
Johnson holding him with the right hand up around the shoulder and the left hand holding him in the arm a little bit. And he did have a grab on him, but Zezel, feeling that, kind of spun his body around too. And those guys know how to do that. That's something they learn to do over the course of their careers. And Zezel definitely did help draw that. But you're right, I think Myers definitely evened it up, because looking at the replay too, really difficult to see where Brad Marsh was guilty of high sticking at all. We thought it might be a charging call or something like that, but certainly not high sticking.
Now it's 4-aside. For all intents and purposes, it's all even, except the Flyers will get a power play opportunity for 17 seconds if things remain the same. Ruskowski and Lemieux up front for the Pens. Billy Steerin going to Mo Mantha. And back to Ruskowski coming to center ice. Right wing pass to Mario Lemieux. He's into the Flyers' end. Lofted the net area for Steerin. It's off his stick. Ruskowski trying to take it in center. It comes in front of the net for Doug Crossman of Philadelphia. Crossman shoots it ahead. And Peter Zezel skates it into Penguin ice, into the slot. Triple team, but he got the puck to Crossman. Crossman drags it back to center ice. The Flyers set up outside the line. Pelle Eklund to Doug Crossman. No score in the first period. Crossman stopping at the Penguin blue line. Lemieux almost poked that check away. He doesn't want to get too fancy out around that blue line with Lemieux, because Lemieux can read the play, and he'll be knocking it off his stick and breaking up ice for 120 feet by himself. Brad McCrimmon. Now he's going to rush into the Penguins' end. Drop pass, left side. The Flyers trying to set it up. Eklund put it in front, deflected in with the Flyers. Brad McCrimmon, who went to the net, I believe got the stick on it, and Philadelphia takes a 1-0 lead.
Well, it's interesting to watch the Flyers work in that situation. The 4-on-4 situation, they were really moving the puck around well.
Ekman shot the puck towards the net. Right in front, Sinisalo was there also, McCrimmon, and it might have been Sinisalo who got the stick on it.
And the puck actually bounced into the net. It came bouncing into the slot, and it hopped right by Roberto Romano into the goal. I don't think he ever saw the puck coming. A lot of traffic crisscrossing in front of that net, and it went underneath Romano.
Now watch Eklund get the goal all the way. Let's see. It is Eklund all the way. Nobody did touch it. He just flipped it up, and it bounced between the legs. Here the Flyers again shooting, and they score again. Eklund has just scored against Romano right from the faceoff. He broke down the right wing, and the Flyers make it 2-0.
Boy, I'll tell you, that first goal is so important on the road, and we were talking earlier about the goaltending of Hextall and the difference that can make. He gave his team a lift early, and they've responded. They've come right back here. Eklund, a speedy skater, came dancing in on Romano, backhanded one between the legs to give the Flyers a 2-0 lead. And I don't want to be a bearer of bad tidings, but the Flyers are 18-2-1 when they score the first goal. And as a matter of fact, one of those two losses came right here in Pittsburgh. You may remember back on October 25th, they scored very early in that game, only a few seconds into the game, and the Penguins came back and played a very strong game to beat them 4-2. But right now, the Flyers enjoying a 2-goal lead.
Flyers scoring 2 goals within 10 seconds, and Pelle Eklund had them both. Here's Duguay breaking back into the Flyers in with a shot. That is deflected. It's picked up by Philadelphia. And they'll work it to center ice. Duguay takes it away from McCrimmon. He's in the Flyers territory, down the right wing. Whip it up the boards. So the Flyers, in a very quiet first period, all of a sudden explode. Pelle Eklund putting one between the legs of Romano on a bouncing knuckleball type of shot, and then scores on a backhander. Shabbat in the Flyers' end. Shabbat feed it towards the net. Deflects off Howe and almost went on the net, but Hextall stopped it. Marsh is on. The Flyers have a power play now for 10 seconds. McCrimmon going to center ice. He'll poke it into the left wing corner of the Penguin zone. Ron Busquets going back behind his own goal. Lost it to Kerr. Kerr centering pass, and they can't get it to an open man. The Penguins get over in time to knock it back to center ice. J.J. Daigneault left wing to Kerr. Kerr pulls up, wrist shot, and Romano stopped it with a stick. Back in front of the goal it goes. Out to Bob Erie. 2-0 the Flyers lead. Erie with 5 minutes to go in the period. Breaking down the left wing. Look for back for Mario Lemieux. Goes after his own pass. Now to Lemieux behind the net. Not a good centering pass by Mario there. The Flyers get it easily. Zezel skating back into Penguin ice. Try to put it by Mantha. Unable to do that, and Bob Erie whip it ahead to Mario Lemieux, but he has 2 men to beat. Drop pass right to Peter Zezel. And to center ice, a 2-line pass called against the Flyers. 4:35 left in the first period. Flyers 2, the Penguins nothing on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Welcome to Boys Town. Tuesday night, December 30th, when the boys battle the Rangers, all fans 16 and under receive this replica team jersey. Compliments of Long John Silver's. Come on down to Boys Town for a hockey night in Pittsburgh.
Well, the Penguins had definitely outplayed the Flyers for the first 12 minutes of this period. They had at one point had outshot them 7-1. They've outshot them 11-6 so far, but the Flyers have capitalized on the scoring chances they've gotten, and they really haven't been chances except for Ekman. He made his own chance. The other one just kind of bounced past Roberto Romano into the net.
Philadelphia on the attack again. Left wing corner of the Penguins in, and watch them work. They will keep doing that. The Flyers will all night long. They've got a great work ethic, and here's a shot now by Tocchet, and that is stopped by Romano. The Flyers will just keep coming at you. They're not there to just pound you and make it look bad all the time. They just work like that. They do continuously, every line that comes out.
And they like to barge in around that goal crease, too. You have to really respect them when they get around the net, because they all like to come into that crease. And Ronnie Sutter right there trying to jam the puck past Romano. The Sutters particularly live in the goal crease, all of them. Oh, Mantha coming in trying to move Sutter out of there as Roberto Romano was trying to freeze the puck in the goal crease.
4 minutes and 13 seconds left here in the first period, and the shots now are 11-7 in favor of the Pens. At one time it was 8-1. Romano 2-6-1 lifetime, the Penguin goaltender against the Flyers. Right point shell. Samuelson, a shot deflected by Sutter, and Romano got a stick on that. The Flyers register shot number 8. Dan Quinn of the Penguins back 2-on-1 with Lindstrom. Quinn left side going to Lindstrom. He's there. He shoots and scores. Willie Lindstrom beats Ron Hextall, and the Penguins make it 2-1. Oh, hallelujah, Hollywood. Willie Lindstrom is 4th of the year. Set up nicely by Dan Quinn.
A pretty play, too. Quinn coming out of his own zone to center and just throwing it over to Lindstrom. He got the puck at center ice. He knew he was behind the defense, and he had a 2-on-1. Lindstrom trailed the play beautifully. Came across the blue line, hung back for a second. He was on the off wing, really. He's a left-handed shot, but came down, cutting down that slot, and Quinn made a perfect pass on his stick, and he one-timed it past Hextall to make it 2-1.
Well, the Penguins now trailing 2-1 against the Flyers. All of a sudden, everybody has come to life. They've let the alarm clock ring, and it's 2-1 Philadelphia. Samuelson at the right point knocked it back into the zone, and we have an offside call against the Flyers. So Eklund scoring a pair of goals 10 seconds apart, coming right back for the Pens. Willie Lindstrom. It's now a 2-1 hockey game.
Well, Lindstrom has such a quick release and a powerful shot, really. He kind of snaps that puck, and he really got all of it on Hextall. He just caught him by surprise and really blasted it past him. He was pretty high in the slot, too, when he let it go, and it went down on the stick side of Hextall into the net. Quinn had a couple of 2-on-1 chances the other night against Los Angeles, and the last few games we've seen him in those situations, he's elected to keep the puck and take shots himself. That time he made the play very early to Lindstrom coming across the blue line. He didn't wait very long. Didn't try to get in too deep around the net. He moved it over quickly, and Lindstrom took advantage of it and put it into the net.
Now look who's at center ice. Craig Simpson out now with Dan Frawley and Kevin LaValle, and he goes back in behind the Penguin goal. Now with the puck will be Jim Johnson. Relayed it up to LaValle. LaValle at center. He is knocked down in the play. It's taken by Zezel. He's belted by Frawley, and down he goes to his knees. Loose puck spun back into the Flyers in. After it now will be LaValle's quick shot on it. Hextall didn't know where it was for a moment, but made that save. Interestingly, with Hextall, the young goaltender, the fans responding, and Hextall was very upset after he made the play that allowed Lindstrom to score. Upset with himself, slammed his stick to the ice. A little bit reminiscent of a Billy Smith type of situation, but maybe even more so with the emotion. The fans notice that. They're starting to get very involved with Hextall. I don't know if that'll be good or bad, but Hextall's the type of guy that breeds that type of reaction.
Not only that, Mike, but he breeds it at home, too. The home fans get behind him when he acts that way, and that's why the Flyers like him so much. He's a very charismatic goaltender. He draws the attention of the fans, and they really get behind him. He gets all pumped up, and he gets his teammates pumped up, too.
The only thing I wonder is in a long time, over a course of a year or a career, whether that emotional state that he could be in continuously will hurt him or not. And I don't mean that. I hope it doesn't. But I'm just saying, to be that high so many times for a game, and I'd love to see that, the excitement of it. But it's tough to maintain. And there'll be times when he's going to be down, believe me. And to maintain it's going to be an awfully tough job. To the left point of the Flyers there, knocked back to center. Any goaltender that ever played a game will tell you exactly what I'm saying there. It's tough. Kerr right in front. Put up for Derek Smith. Romano had gambled and gone out. A shot at deflection again, went wide of the Penguin net. Johnson trying to clear. Goes ahead to Dave Haney. Relay it up by Duguay, and it goes into Philadelphia ice. Hextall again with that big goaltender stick. Winds it around. Penguins can't keep it in. And that is, just like being another defenseman, the move Hextall made there. Played back to center. You see a lot of goaltenders will just dump it to the corners or look for somebody, but Hextall has the strength and ability to clear the zone himself. And you can't score if the puck isn't in your own end. 2:20 to go, first period. And the Penguins from their own territory. 2-1, the Flyers lead. Siren poked it back to center, knocked back into the zone. Siren will go again to Bodger. Bodger to Duguay. Good checking going on right now, but the Flyers are stopping the play of the Penguins coming out of their own zone. Romano stumbles behind the net, makes the stop on the puck. Bodger, right wing to Duguay. Good left wing pass to Erie behind Samuelson, but he's offside again. A two-line pass.
Well, Erie's got that good speed, and he likes to bounce ahead of the play. And the second time in this period that he has been ahead of the play, but unfortunately the pass comes from behind the blue line to him, and it's a two-line pass. So they bring it back just inside the Pittsburgh blue line to drop the puck.
Capitals lead 1-0 over St. Louis on an Alan Haworth goal, and Chicago now leading Boston 2-1. Wayne Presley with both goals, not Dennis Savard. Presley has both goals. Randy Burridge scoring for the Boston Bruins. Still 2-1. The Islanders lead the Rangers in the first period. And the same score here, 2-1 Flyers.
Mike, all goals are big, but I think that goal by Lindstrom was particularly crucial in this hockey game because the Flyers had taken away the momentum, and the Penguins really needed a goal badly at this stage of the game, and Lindstrom came up with it.
Murray Craven directs the puck in behind the Penguin net, and Jim Johnson looking left wing to Bob Erie. Relay it now to Lemieux. Trying to get on track here in the first period. Carries the puck to the right side of the Flyers zone. Off to Ruskowski. Stops it with a glove. Oh, he tried to pass to Johnson coming down the slot. It's just beyond his reach. Brad Marsh returning. Carried the puck to the Penguins end. He runs interference on Johnson. Craven has it. Tried to put it in front. Lemieux breaks it up. Well, what a nice play that was by Brad Marsh there. He knew he couldn't make the play to shoot it, so he took the man and ran interference on him. Almost resulted in a good scoring chance for the Flyers. Bob Erie. Where was he shooting that one? Up to no man's land, and it goes in behind the Flyers' goal. Icing call. I think he was tired, wanted to make the line change. And he just got it from behind center red. The icing call results. Doug Crossman of the Flyers, former Chicago Blackhawk. He came over in that deal for Ben Wilson.
That's right. And he's been a good performer for the Flyers.
Been steady. He's not a physical type by any means. He's more of a finesse type of defenseman.
He's one of those guys that you don't hear much about. They talk about the Flyer defense a lot. Of course, Howe and McCrimmon are really outstanding defensemen. Crossman there and very important part of this team because last year they went with 4 defensemen for almost the entire year, and he was one of the 4.
Quinn in the matchup here against Pelle Eklund. Eklund now in his second year out of Sweden. Used almost exclusively last year on the power play situations, but now seeing a regular shift. And up the center, the puck comes to Randy Cunnyworth. Penguin left winger drops it up in the Flyers' ice with 1:03 to go in the period. It'll come off the near wing. Cunnyworth took it in behind the net. Centers for Quinn. He had to take it behind the goal. Quinn now passing to Siren. Shoots it. And it just went off Hextall. Lindstrom behind the net. Going to Randy Cunnyworth. Boy, Lindstrom still has the wheels and he can fly. Quinn behind the goal. Checked by Eklund. Trying to work his way free. Swinging behind the net. Eklund's on him. Crossman too. Back into the far corner. Cunnyworth and Derek Smith bouncing each other around pretty good. Still loose in the corner. Penguins working hard on this shift now. 30 seconds to go in the period. Cunnyworth without a stick, and he and Craven are going to go to it. Or is it Derek Smith? Yes, Derek Smith and Randy Cunnyworth will go to it. Derek Smith with a left hand on Cunnyworth, and Smith can go. Cunnyworth trying to get himself free. The linesmen have really not stepped in as of yet, and now they will. Derek Smith with the size and the reach on Cunnyworth. We're down to 29 seconds to go. Now this is where they just got to break apart, and they do just that. Well, looks like Derek Smith might have been hit on the nose.
Well, he and Cunnyworth were really pushing and shoving each other in that corner for quite some time before, I believe Smith was the first guy to drop the gloves, too. And that got him going. Cunnyworth had lost his stick, and he was pounding away at Smith, and that happens. When you lose your stick, you just take over with the body. You've got to start taking over and doing something somehow and take advantage of the fact that your arms are free.
Pittsburgh penalty, number 15, Randy Cunnyworth, 5 minutes each for fighting. Time of the penalty, 19.
Now they drop the glove simultaneously at the same time, and they'll both go off here at 19:31. 5-minute majors for fighting. Boy, there's Willie Lindstrom really, I think, is flying out here in this first period. And I don't know if there ever was a guy that was blessed by the man above, came into this world, it was a natural skater. He certainly is the guy. And if you had to have somebody teach your young one how to skate, it would just seem to me he'd be the natural person to do it. He just skates so fluidly. I mean, it's just effortless the way he skates.
He had a rink in his backyard in Sweden, and that helps. His mother would call him for dinner every day.
There aren't many people that have those.
No, there aren't.
I've heard of tennis courts and jacuzzis and hot tubs, but your own ice rink, I mean, that's you are going quite so. Yeah, that's. I'd like to know what his dad does for a living. We missed the boat. He's got his own ice rink. Here is Brad Marsh around the near side. Up to center ice, Lemieux with a steal. Giving the puck to Jim Johnson. Now to Rod Buskus rink wide. Simpson out with Ruskowski and Lemieux. Simpson back on the right wing. So we've seen one shift at center ice here so far in the game. Carried it back into the Flyers zone. Worked by Marsh back to center. It should end 2-1 Flyers. 2 seconds, and it will. And that's it. The end of the first period. With the score, the Philadelphia Flyers 2 and the Pittsburgh Penguins 1, right here on the Penguins Hockey Network.
They just do it every year during the regular season. But you get the feeling more and more that the Flyers really are concentrating more on the long term, worrying about what might happen this year in the playoffs. And that's why they went for Kjell Samuelsson, and they're happy to have J.J. Daigneault on hand to try to bring him along, because there's no question, we mentioned it earlier, they went with 4 defensemen last year. And it took its toll over the course of the year. Brad Marsh was a tired hockey player in the playoffs, and they just didn't play as well once playoff time came.
They're having some problems with the clock. They informed us at the end of the period there might be some. The two clubs have people in the penalty box, Cunnyworth and Derek Smith, for their fighting majors. Let's see if the clock does work, and it does. To begin period number 2, the Penguins moving left to right. I think I mentioned earlier in the game that Hextall was the league's leading goaltender on goals against average. He is not. He is second to Alan Bester of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But in the number of games played, Hextall certainly would have to be considered the #1 goaltender. And what is amazing, he's not even among the leaders to be an all-star goaltender. And right now, he's earned that spot. Here are the Penguins back in front, and they can't tee it up. Poulin starts back on the left wing, going to Murray Craven. He goes to the Penguins' end. Wrist one on up Romano's shoulder. It comes off the far boards. Dave Hannon just simply clears the zone. Hextall's going to come out, and he'll wind it right over to Brad McCrimmon. To Kerr, he lost the puck. Comes back into the zone, but McCrimmon has possession. Gave it right back to Hannon. Hannon shoots it in. The Penguins go to a line change. Hextall on the backhand now. Around for Kerr. A little too hard, and Doug Bodger shoots it away to the Flyers in. McCrimmon playing off the boards. I like this delayed offside rule. Really, it keeps the game moving much better. Would have been an offside play on Ruskowski moments ago, but he got back outside the line. Here are the Penguins shooting, and Searing let it go, and off the right leg of Ron Hextall. Craven taps it back to center ice. The Penguins looking for it. Bodger near side. Watch Sutter take it away, and Sutter had a check by Bob Erie. Erie guns his way to the Flyers end. Got a shot on by McCrimmon, but Hextall made that stop. He'll sneak it away with a goaltender stick near side. Ruskowski back for Lemieux. Lemieux's got a chance. Here he comes. He shot it right in front for Erie. He was trying to make the pass there. He didn't shoot it to the net. Now McCrimmon with it. Whip it up right wing. Here's a 2-on-1 break for the Flyers. Right side, Tocchet. Left side, the Carson comes in. He shoots it off the post. Off to the right of Romano, and Big Ben struck one. The Flyers miss on a 2-on-1 early in the period. Now Ruskowski belted from behind by Lindsey Carson, but gets enough action with the stick to get it up to center. And it goes into the Flyers in an offside play. Well, the Flyers fail to connect. On a 2-on-1 break, we've got a penalty coming up here, too, and we'll take a timeout. 2-1 Flyers on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Hours at 642-1985. That's 642-1985. A minute ago, Mario Lemieux stole the puck from a couple of Flyers, was able to get control of it, and then he walked towards the net, and he threw it to the left of the net looking for Erie to deflect it, but Erie was tied up in front of the goal. Then the Flyers came right back up on a 2-on-1 break, and Lindsey Carson got it and shot it off the post behind Romano. That's the second time tonight that the Flyers have hit the post. Ronnie Sutter hit it in the first period, and then right after that, a trip, and really it was Lindsey Carson apparently who tripped Ruskowski, but Rick Tocchet ends up going to the penalty box at 1:49. Was that slashing? The call.
And back from center will be John Chabot of the Penguins as he drags it up to the Flyer line. Still carrying the puck into the Flyer zone, the near side. Chabot on the power play. Duguay and Hannon out here with him. Chabot near corner. Chabot. Duguay goes behind the net. He feed it across to Duguay as he came out from behind the goal, but he failed on the shot. It was a set play the Penguins have, but it didn't connect. Jim Johnson trying to hold it in. Left point. Throws it down the boards. It went right into Ron Sutter with the Flyers, and he falls on top of the puck, and we'll get a stop and play.
Well, Duguay shaking his head, talking to himself. There's a play that obviously was designed, and the Penguins set it up perfectly. It was pulled off to perfection, except for one thing. Duguay kind of fanned on the shot and never really got it off. Kind of a confusion on the penalty call. They announced it as tripping, and on our graphic it said slashing. I'm not really sure what the call was, but there isn't any question. It did not look as if Tocchet was the man who tripped Ruskowski. It looked more like Lindsey Carson kicked his skates out from under him to trip him, and the referee, Bob Myers, giving the penalty to Tocchet.
Turkey's on the table. We've got a Stroh's power play contestant, too, for $100 if the Penguins should cash in here. 1:24 to go in the Tocchet penalty. 17:35 left in the second period. Zezel wins the draw, but the Penguins come up with it. It goes to Bodger, right side. Mantha shoots it. It's off the glove of Ron Hextall. That one didn't have a lot behind it, Mantha's wrist shot. It comes off the near boards. Brad Marsh around for Poulin. He can't clear, but Marsh will carry it out. Look out, 2-on-1. Back in the play is Mantha. Make it 2-on-2. Zezel into the Penguins' end. Bodger swings him wide and takes the puck away. But remember, the Penguins have a power play. Shell Samuelson dumps it back inside the Penguin stripe. Interestingly, Samuelson was talking to Brad Marsh as they awaited the face-off as to exactly how they would play the penalty killing unit. He is so new to the system, it's going to take him some time, and Hextall clears the puck himself up ice. Another big play there by Ron Hextall.
It's unbelievable the way he can shoot that puck.
Mantha giving the puck now to Doug Bodger. Bodger with 35 to go. That killed at least 30 seconds of the power play by Hextall doing what he did. LaValle goes behind the net. LaValle around left wing side to Lemieux. Left point to Bodger. Now he has time, takes his time, shoots it. Didn't get all of that one. It's blocked in front by Howe, and here come the Flyers. Sinisalo, who's been a big goal scorer against the Penguins in the years that he's been in the league. To Poulin, look out for McCrimmon's in front. Try to go, let me score. Poulin beats Romano. A shorthanded goal, and the Flyers lead 3-1. Poulin had McCrimmon right in front of the net, and the Flyers cash in on the shorthanded goal. Poulin from the right wing circle cut in deep. Instead of passing to McCrimmon, he put it off the pad or between the legs of Romano on the short side.
The second shorthanded goal of the year for Poulin has really been hot lately. He had the hat trick the other night, and he tried to pass it. He tried to make the pass there, but it went off the defenseman's leg and into the net. So Romano really at the mercy of Mr. Poulin. He came in, tried to make the pass. It went off of Mo Mantha and underneath Romano and into the goal. So a terrible break there for Romano and Mo Mantha. Although you get the feeling that if the puck goes across to McCrimmon and gets to him, he's able to tap it into the net, too.
Yeah, 12th shorthanded goal of the year for the Philadelphia Flyers, and Poulin gets a big one there. His 11th of the campaign, the Flyers captain. Scores here on the road. McCrimmon with 4 seconds to go, and that's the kind of goal that will just take the heart right out of you. Let's see if the Penguins can bounce back. Jim Johnson around the left wing, over to Willie Lindstrom. Relay ahead for Dan Quinn. Quinn shoots it in. That play really, the goal was scored on Romano, and it looked as though he misplayed the puck, but it did hit Mantha. But the play really developed much earlier. The Penguins' inability to keep the puck and the Flyers in and work on the power play. And that's where the 2-on-1 developed from. And it's an offside call now against the Flyers. This Tocchet, of course, is back on. Now again, Poulin, and we don't have the assist on the goal.
Probably the
35.
most amazing thing is what was McCrimmon doing all the way up ice like that in that situation?
Well, he trailed the play. On the way the play developed, he just happened to be there. I mean, it just opened up with nobody around him at all, and when it's there, you got to take it. I mean, nobody was around him. He just walked in home free, and Poulin spotted that, and he was trying to go to him. When you've got a chance to score shorthanded and nobody is around you to check you, that just tells you the Penguins had only one man back at the 5 they had on the ice around the play at all. So somebody was really trapped and out of position. And it left Mantha as the Statue of Liberty back there along with Roberto Romano. Now Jim Johnson cutting to the left of his net. Lay it ahead to Dan Quinn. 3-1 Philadelphia. Right wing pass to Frawley. Frawley got around Howe. He cuts for the goal. Moves in his backhander. That is stopped by Hextall. And he'll make the play to hold on to the puck. Frawley now, and one of the Flyers mix it up in front of the net.
Well, that was a classic example of what I'm talking about, Mike, about wingers going wide on the play. Dan Quinn coming up ice, kind of cutting to his right a little bit to create some space, bring that defenseman up, and then he dumped it into Frawley, cutting in behind, and he just went swinging right around the defenseman, cut in on goal, and almost jammed that puck underneath Hextall. With Frawley going wide, going down the boards, and then cutting in on goal. That's a gutsy move, too, and he goes in on the backhand, and Hextall, dragging that glove back, was able to come up with a puck somehow and hang on to it.
4:27 gone in period number 2. Philadelphia with the only goal, that by Dave Poulin, a shorthanded goal. The 12th of the year for the Flyers, and the 5th the Penguins have given up. Hextall really working over the goalpost. Oh, you can't help but admire the enthusiasm that he has, and it really is great. It's great for the game of hockey, too. Now to center comes Tim Kerr. Kerr of the Flyers. Whip it back into the Penguin left wing corner. Comes off the boards. Knock wide. I'll tell you, the guy that played goal as well as anybody I've ever seen in the years I covered the National Hockey League, Bernie Parent, was just the opposite of Hextall. I mean, he was as quiet and mild-mannered a person in that net as you'd ever want to see. As cool and would not even be flustered at all. I mean, everything went his way. And but he's just the opposite of Hextall. And yet he works with Hextall all the time in helping to develop his skills. Flyers at center. They give it to Murray Craven. Craven drop pass to Kerr. Back for Craven. Cutting for the net. He's there. He scores. It's 4-1 Philadelphia. Flyers score again as Craven took advantage of a mistake and he got behind the defense on the give and go, and Craven makes it 4-1 Philadelphia. 5:06 the time of the goal. And the Flyers make it look so easy, don't they?
Boy, do they ever. Craven gave the puck to Kerr. He gave it right back to Craven. Really had Bodger going this way and that, and Craven cut right to the net. Romano went down, and Craven just slipped it underneath him to make it 4-1. But a beautiful passing play by Kerr and Craven, because Kerr gave it right back to Craven after he gave it to him, and that really had Bodger confused.
J.J. Daigneault and Kerr, we're going to see a goaltending change for the Penguins. I want to say something here, and just in fairness to Romano, was going to be pulled out of the net. Moments before that goal was scored, Dan Frawley had an opportunity walking in one-on-one against goaltender Ron Hextall. And he couldn't take advantage of it. He couldn't score. Craven does, and there's the difference in the game. I mean, you got people that can put it in the net. If you're not putting it in the net, you're not going to score and win the ball game. You're not going to do it. And Frawley, to be fair about it, has only one goal the entire year in 30 games. Craven with his 9th. And you know, that's the difference of giving momentum and things back to a club. So Meloche comes on at 5:06 of the second period. Live play. Meloche has gone to the net for the Penguins. Gilles on the year, 6-5-3 and a 3.09 goals against average. The 36-year-old goaltender replacing Roberto Romano at 5:06 of period number 2.
Well, in the old days, when a goaltender came on in that situation, he would get a warm-up. Everybody would stop, and they'd start shooting pucks at him to get him warmed up. But they don't do that anymore in the NHL, unless the guy is injured and he leaves the game. And Joe Meloche, the only thing injured on Romano is his pride right now, probably a little bit. And it's unfortunate, because when he went off the ice, the fans cheered, and really Roberto was at the mercy a couple of times of the Flyers. The goal that was scored by Poulin off of Mo Mantha was backing up towards the net, went right off of Mantha into the goal. The other one, a great play by Craven and Kerr. Craven cutting in all by himself to score.
Yeah, and Craven was left alone and behind everybody to get that shot off. Now the Flyers trying to work it out of their own end. They do, and Mantha drags it back in. Now the Penguins, who have lost 2 in a row, losing to Toronto in overtime, and the Kings on Wednesday night, 3-0, now find themselves down by 3 here against the league's best club, the Philadelphia Flyers. Darryl Stanley, who's playing left wing tonight, up for the Flyers with Pelle Ekman at center, and now Tim Kerr on the right side.
Well, another thing you have to look at, too, is this. The Penguins' power play was 0 for 7 against Los Angeles the other night. True, they did score a record 6 power play goals against the Maple Leafs last Friday night. That made their power play statistics look a little bit better than they have been. But there's no question that they've got to capitalize on these power play situations. And the last thing you want to do is not only not score a power play goal, but give up a shorthanded goal.
John Shabbat in Pittsburgh territory, giving the puck to Doug Bodger. Bodger belted on the play. And it comes to Duguay up the center to John Shabbat. Shabbat leave it at the Flyer line. McCrimmon knocks it wide. Back into Penguin ice, and Stanley goes in along with Rod Buskus. Giving the puck to Kerr. He's off balance as he tried to make a play. Penguins do move it back to center ice. And it goes back to the Penguin stripe where Doug Bodger, Penguin defenseman, plays the puck to Dave Hannon. He gave it right back to Brad McCrimmon. And the Flyers set up shop at center ice. Pelle Ekman going to Mark Howe. Howe to Brad McCrimmon. McCrimmon's passed off a stick. It comes to Simpson. Now to Shabbat on the slot. Trying to get it into the slot and make a shot. We've got a penalty coming up here. Now Howe took a shot at Simpson with a stick, and now a fight breaks out. Lindsey Carson and Craig Simpson. Boy, Howe, you rarely see Howe do what he did to Simpson. Something must have made him upset. Pelle Ekman now and Ron Buskus have a hold of one another as the tempers heat up. Now it's Tocchet and Buskus. That'd be a pretty good matchup there. Rod Buskus and Rick Tocchet.
Tocchet, one of the better young fighters in the league. Buskus, as we said earlier, nursing that bruised left shoulder. But Tocchet's like a buzzsaw when he drops the gloves. He's unbelievable. Buskus is probably one of those guys that not a lot of people realize he's a good fighter. Maybe other players in the league
Oh, they do. They know. The word's out. I mean, they've seen him go enough. No question. Yeah, Simpson and Howe, as I said, with just does not do this type of thing.
Simpson crashed into the goal, knocked Hextall over, then went behind the net, and he was jumped from behind by Howe. All he did was go to the net trying to score a goal. And then when Simpson came around the net, he was jumped by Lindsey Carson from in front.
Well, there's a reason for it. They protect their goaltender. They don't want anybody around it and touching him, and they come right after you. They'll let you know, hey, we don't accept it. 4-1 Flyers on the National Hockey League, and Simpson cutting right down the slot was going to the net. And one of the Flyer defensemen, I believe it was McCrimmon, pushed him into the goal, and he came in and knocked Hextall flying. His elbow was kind of high as he was coming in, and he knocked Hextall in the mask, knocked him on his back, and then he went around the net. And when he got back there, Mark Howe elbowed him across the back of the head. And by the time he got around to the other side of the net, out by the boards, Lindsey Carson had come around from the opposite way and jumped him from in front. But Chabot came cutting across the slot, and it was not McCrimmon. I don't know who it was who ran Simpson into Hextall, but he bumped into him, and then that was Howe. And Howe kept following Simpson all the way around the net, and he elbowed him again. So really it was, I think the first penalty that was going to be called was when Howe knocked him into the goaltender. 6:21 will be the time on the minor penalties. Lindsey Carson is in there.
Well,
I think Carson and Simpson will get minor penalties for roughing, and Howe will pick one up too.
Well, in
That
all
might
honesty,
be the situation.
my own feeling is that
Philadelphia penalties.
That Simpson shouldn't even...
2 minutes for holding, 2 minutes for cross-checking.
There you go. They should have a two-man advantage here.
2 minutes for roughing. For Pittsburgh, number 18, Craig Simpson, 2 minutes for interference. Number 32, Dave Hannon, 2 minutes for cross-checking. Top of the penalty, 6:21.
Well, the penalties go as this. Simpson of the Penguins, a 2-minute minor for interference.
Simpson, 2 for interference.
And then Dave Hannon picks up a cross-checking minor. The Flyers, Mark Howe gets 2 for holding, 2 for cross-checking. And Lindsey Carson gets 2 for roughing. So the Penguins come out of this with a power play chance.
Well, all the scuffling that happened after Carson came in and jumped on Simpson really is what resulted in the penalties to the Penguins. Dave Hannon going off. But Simpson was hit by Howe twice, and then Lindsey Carson.
I think this is pin night again. Everybody in the building must have got one of my pins because they're disappearing like crazy. Thank you, Dennis. All right. We've got a 4-1 game. The Flyers leading. Mario Lemieux, who really has just been quiet here tonight, has just not been in the game at all. And the Pens have him out there with Ruskowski and Kevin LaValle on the power play. Doug Bodger and Mo Mantha back as the point men. Flyers have a way of making Lemieux not noticeable. They have since he came into the league. They do a tremendous job of checking him. Let's see if he can get free now. Left wing side of the Flyers in. It goes to Lemieux on a drop pass. Not a good one. Right to Poulin. Poulin shorthanded. Back into the Penguins end. Cutting for the net. And Bodger made a big defensive play to knock it wide. Lemieux is hit by Peter Zezel, and that's what the Flyers will do. They'll just keep banging you and hitting you and working and working. Bodger against Zezel, and you have to admire it. There's no other way to say it. I mean, you've got to, the way they play the game. Lemieux carries it from behind his own net. Now he's got a little fire in his eye. He'll come to center. Lemieux going down the right wing. Into the Flyers in. Shoot one on, and the stop is made by Hextall. LaValle picks it up. Going to Johnson. Right side. Mantha's there. Moves in. His slap shot. Stick save made by Hextall. High in the air. Flag down by Zezel. But getting clear. He dives out to make the play. But Mantha keeps it in. It goes in behind the net. Hextall has it. Look out. Bye-bye. It's gone.
Wow. That's amazing what Hextall did there. Most goaltenders in that situation will backhand the puck behind the cage around the boards the opposite way. Hextall grabbed it, handled it for a second, brought it around in front of him, and then shot at the length of the ice.
And Hextall sets it up for Samuelson as it comes back in and drills at the length of the ice in behind Gilles Meloche. 51 to go in the penalty. This is the Penguins' 4th power play chance. We're on a Stroh's power play, and we'll give you the contestant's name in a moment. Back behind the net. Here's Hextall again. If you keep giving it to him, you're going to pay the price, and you do again. Now, it's hard to believe that you would keep giving the puck to a guy like that because he can just clear it himself. And McCrimmon now with it. Penguins are just making a lot of mental mistakes here in this game right now. Searing to the right wing, going to Duguay. Duguay, drop pass for Lemieux. Lemieux now sets it up. Right side, Searing, wrist shot, and that's off Hextall. Duguay right into him. It goes behind the net. Duguay trying to take it free, and Ron Sutter knocked it off his blade. And Ron Sutter lifted ahead to center to Rick Tocchet. 10 seconds on the penalty. And the Flyers go into the Penguins' end. They're after Meloche. Meloche behind the net. Leaving the puck for Dan Quinn. Penguins can't get out of their own end. Jim Johnson swinging in behind the net. The penalty is over. And the Penguins will fail to score on this power play, and they're just having a tough time of it right now against this buzzsaw machine, the Philadelphia Flyers. Sirrett around the boards. Over to the far side. Lemieux comes in. McCrimmon beats him to the puck. It goes off to Jim Johnson. He'll lay it ahead to Quinn. Back come Lemieux and Quinn. But Quinn tried to, I think, just finesse it over to Lemieux. They'll have to come off. They're tired after playing on the power play. 11:13 to go in the second period. Philadelphia 4 and Pittsburgh 1. And McCrimmon now steers the puck deep into Penguin real estate. Buskus going behind the net. Laid around the board. Sinisalo comes up with possession. Sinisalo losing the puck to Willie Lindstrom. He has the only Penguin tally of the night. Shabbat captures it. He'll go to the Flyers line, but Duguay's offside on the left wing. We will take a timeout. 4-1 Philadelphia on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Mark Hefka was our contestant on that last Stros power play, and Frank's going to receive a couple of tickets to an upcoming Penguins game. Penguins failing to score on the power play for the 4th time.
We'll give you some out-of-town scores in just a moment as the Penguins trail Philadelphia 4-1 here. Doug Bodger to touch it. And we've got a hooking call coming up. It's going to be against the Penguins. The Flyers will get a power play. Out of town, Hartford and Detroit tied at 1 in the first period. Stuart Gavin for the Whalers and Rick Sealing scoring his first of the year for the Red Wings. Calgary leads Vancouver 3-0 in the first period. Reinhart, McGinnis, and Mullen scoring for the Flames. Montreal 2, New Jersey 0 in the first period. Larry Robinson and Chris Chelios connecting for the Canadians. Edmonton and Los Angeles tied at 3 apiece. That game still in the first period at the 14-minute mark. A lot of goal scoring going on there. Darren Elliott, who shut out the Penguins on Wednesday night, now seeing some rubber from the Edmonton Oilers, and he's given up 3 already. And Grant Fuhrer in goal tonight for the Los Angeles Kings. That brings you up to date on what we have.
How many times do you think those teams have hooked up on those 9-8ers? I've seen that a few times over the years. They're in the same division. And
really have given up a lot of goals this year and score a lot of goals, and so have the Oilers. You would expect maybe that type of game. Eklund cruising back into Penguin ice, left side to Kerr on the power play of the Flyers, and you've got to watch Tim Kerr here. He's their big gun. He lost the puck, though, to John Shabbat. Shabbat and Bob Erie. 4-1 Flyers. Shabbat stopping in the Flyer zone, looking for room. He might have a shot here. He walks down the slot, still trying, and backhands it. It was blocked by the Flyers. J.J. Daigneault up to Kerr. Daigneault, who really has been used only on the power play and just very limited ice time tonight for Coach Mike Keenan. And he's back out here as a point man, and he'll have to settle it down at center ice, going to Doug Crossman. Crossman right wing to Sinisalo. Lost it to Cunnyworth. Cunnyworth with 1:09 to go on the penalty. Quinn is on here in a penalty-killing role. Cunnyworth beat it in behind the net. Hextall quickly sends it over to Doug Crossman. Eklund. Oh, he almost had it stripped off his stick by Quinn, but back come the Flyers to the Penguin line. Crossman turns it over to Tim Kerr. Look out here. Kerr cutting for the net. He puts it in front and deflected by Meloche. Kerr's great straight there just allowed him to sneak by people. In front, they try and get it to him. It's loose around the goal. Meloche reaches with a hand and holds onto the puck as he pulls it in.
boy, he had Poulin cutting the net too, but he just couldn't get it over to him on that situation. And Meloche was over on the one side worrying about Kerr, and Poulin was cutting into the net all by himself.
Drags you like Jim Brown going to the net. I mean, there's just no way. You can't stop him. He's like a big bull bronking.
Well, what happened?
Well, if that's the word, I don't.
You know, what happened there too is he did try to go to Poulin, but Buskus got his stick down on the ice. The shaft of his stick deflected it wide of the goal. Very similar to what happened earlier to Romano. Only that time the puck went into the net. But defensemen trying to break up those passes that come across the goal mouth, and that's what happens though. You don't always have to make the pass and complete it. Sometimes just making the play in that tight, when you got players going to the net like that, the puck will go into the goal even if somebody hasn't really shot it.
Kerr to handle the faceoff against Shabbat to the left of Gilles Meloche. Shots are 19-10 in favor of the Penguins. The Flyers have scored on 4 of 10 shots, including a shorthanded goal. Howe whipping in front for Kerr, went by him. Kerr, who has 26 goals on the year to lead the Flyers in that category. McCrimmon right point. His shot. That stop. Rebound. Look out. Kerr's there. Shot score. Kerr, you get him just a half a second. That's all he needs, and he scores on the power play. And the Flyers now lead 5-1.
Now Zezel set him up. Moved it over to him, and Kerr was parked out to the right of Meloche, and he just one-timed it. Zezel and Poulin causing havoc around that net. Meloche made a save. Zezel came bursting around to get the rebound, threw it over to Kerr, and into the net it went. And Flyers all over that puck right now. not just on the power play, but seemingly even at even strength. And Kerr found the net.
Now, Kerr with that
of the year.
quick release, and he has the ability to get rid of it in a hurry. And give Malash some credit. He went diving back, tried to make the save, but he's just not that fast. You can shoot it faster than you can move. And that was the case there. So the Flyers connect on their power play chance. And it's been a game that has just not gone right at all for the Penguins and everything the Flyers have done. They've scored a shorthanded goal, a power play goal, and they have scored 5 goals on 12 shots in the game. So they've had things pretty much going their way. Season series dead even at 1 apiece. It's kind of scary because this game here, I don't think the Penguins are that far away from Philadelphia as an overall team, but after seeing the first half of this game, it scares you. Where are the Penguins at this moment? I mean, they're struggling, and you don't know if it's a total slump or they've just had things go by the wayside. I don't really know. Here's Derek Smith coming to the Penguin stripe, knocked away, and Dave Brown winds it in.
Well, I'll tell you something, Mike. When you switch lines up the way Bob Berry did this week, that's a sign that he really was concerned and trying to get something going. And sometimes switching all those lines can just add to the lack of confidence that a team can have.
Carson going to Rick Tocchet. He'll break in, feed it in front. Malash gone down and still loose around the net. Now play to the near boards. And the Flyers keep it in. They do. Daigneault puts it back on. And Malash looks over his shoulder because the Flyers, this has been orange and black around the Penguin net all night long. And we get a stoppage in the play. He didn't want to give it away. 5-1 Philadelphia. Penguin bench. I want to say add something else, too. You know, the Pens against Philadelphia, we gave you the overall stand 71, 27, and 17. And there is an inbred thing. I don't care what player comes to the organization for the Penguins or to the Flyers. They just have had the Penguins number for years and years and years. And right now, it's just, you know, it's no exception. It's the way it's gone. And the Flyers seem to play that way. Hextall almost gave it away to Lindstrom, but it's played away up the right side. Back to center ice comes to Cunnyworth. Cunnyworth bounces it in, and Hextall stops it. Just as the Rangers play so well against Philadelphia over the past 3 or 4 seasons, the Penguins seem to have the same type of problem, although they beat the Flyers earlier in the year 4-2. Now Cunnyworth near side to Quinn. Let's see if he can get it going. Right in front, it's off Hextall's leg, and it comes to Rick Tocchet. Tocchet relay it to Ron Sutter, and it's going to be called back here. Ron Sutter and Doug Bodger now. And now Sutter comes over and puts a stick in the face of Doug Bodger. Tempers will be a little short here. This is what the Flyers do very well. If they get a lead on you, they keep playing the same way, and they will aggravate you, and they want to aggravate you, and more power to them. I mean, they just play the game that way, as long as it doesn't get nasty, but they want to make you know that, hey, we do have your number if that is the case, and we're going to let you know that it's going to keep happening.
Doug Bodger saying something to Bob Myers. I don't know what, but you could read his lips. He said, Bobby, and he was asking him if what Sutter was doing was all right or whatever, if he saw what he was doing. I don't know. But Bodger feeling the nastiness of the Sutters. They like to pick on you and agitate you. That's what they do. Out of town on our US Air Out of Town scoreboard, Chicago and Boston tied 2-2 in the second. Islanders leading the Rangers 3-2 second period. Washington and St. Louis tied at 1. Hartford and Detroit also tied at 1 in the first.
Buffalo has a 2-1 lead over Toronto. That is a score just in the first period. And Edmonton has now jumped ahead of the Kings 4-3 on the U.S. Air scoreboard. All in the first period, that scoring. Here's Lemieux back into the Flyers and trying to shoot it. And shoots it wide as he's pulled down by Mark Howe. Play will go on. Back to center comes to Darryl Stanley. Stanley turn it over to Eklund, and he'll drive it into the Penguins' end. Sinisalo looking to make the play, goes to McCrimmon. McCrimmon bounces towards the Penguin net. Malash got a stick on that. It comes around to the near corner. Pelle Eklund behind the net for Sinisalo. Lemieux is back cleaning up his own end. He'll wind it up the boards, but right to McCrimmon. McCrimmon back into the corner. Nobody is there, and it goes behind the Penguin goal again. Stanley is in, and the Flyers continue to forecheck, keep the pressure on. They lead 5-1, and they'll do this all night long. 6:20 to go in the second period. Lemieux trying to clear the zone, cannot do it. Up with it, the Flyers, they have it. Eklund looking to make a play. Finally, Lemieux does get the puck. Back 3-on-2, and he might be so tired now that might not happen. He's been working his own in. Lemieux now going to Ruskowski. He's got a chance, moves in. His shot, though, blocked by McCrimmon. And the Flyers simply turn it off the boards. It'll come back into Penguin real estate. Flyers will go to a line change. Penguins will follow on shortly and do the same.
Well, Ruskowski had to stop that puck and move it over to his stick to get the shot off. But Mario normally will put the pass right on the tape. But that time, Ruskowski had to try to get the puck onto his stick so that he could get the shot away. And by the time he did, he was out of position. Flyers leading the Penguins 5-1 with 5:45 to go in the second period.
2-1 hockey game going to the second period, but Dave Poulin, Murray Craven, and Tim Kerr have scored for the Flyers here in the second period, and they lead the Penguins now 5-1 with 5:45 to go here in the period. Brad Marsh controlling the puck for the Flyers from his own territory. Look to get it out. Plays it off the boards. There will be no icing on the play. Mantha has to hustle to get back to it, and he'll knock it around to the near corner. Poulin is in against Duguay. Poulin and Derek Smith, and they continue to go for the puck in the corners. Around to the near side. Poulin without a stick now. Had it taken away by Mantha. Duguay battling. And Derek Smith digs it free. Smith to the Flyers going behind the Penguin net. Center it out in front. It'll come to Marsh, who in slow motion comes over. He doesn't get it. Samuelson will. The big 6'6" defenseman. Now to Poulin centering. Knocked away. Flyers keeping the pressure on, but John Shabbat will get control of it and skate it back to center for Ron Duguay. Duguay shoots it into the right wing corner of Philadelphia Real Estate. And Brad Marsh going left wing for Poulin. Able to dish it off to the neutral zone, and the Penguins dump it away to the Flyers in. Shell Samuelson of Philadelphia. Up ahead, he gave it away to Belusiri. Put it behind the net, and again, it goes right to Ron Hextall. Hextall could not get it out this time, and Buskus whipped one right to the net. That's stopped. Rebound in front. Here's Frawley trying to tee it up. He's knocked down. Play goes on. Derek Smith pulled down by LaValle. No penalty called there. LaValle trying to take a shot. He is decked. And there's bodies all over the ice. Sheeran is knocked down by Kerr. There'll be a penalty against Kerr, I believe. Now Brad Marsh and Dan Frawley get the sticks up into one another. Greg Simpson and Shell Samuelson staring at one another, but the battle started with Frawley and Brad Marsh. And we'll have a penalty coming up here. A few. 4:23 to go in the period. We'll take a timeout. 5-1 Flyers on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Well, Dave Poulin goes to the penalty box. Ronnie Hextall with that great stick reaching out to get the puck as it came in behind the net, and then throwing it off the boards earlier. And then Buskus got the puck at the right point after he cleared it and shot it back to the net, and Hextall made the save on him. And then all of a sudden, bodies flying all over the ice, and it's tough to see which one was going to get the penalty, but Poulin comes out of the pack with the penalty at 15:37. So the Pens on a power play for the fifth time, and Bill King Jr. of McKeesport, PA, will be our contestant on the Stroh's power play, going for $100. Penguins could use a goal right here, and they're down 5-1. They need a few of them, but at least one would at least get them back into the game and feeling like they got something going right.
Flyers have 4 shots in the second period, and they have 3 goals, and they lead 5-1. Now the Penguins again with a power play opportunity. Mo Mantha. And the opportunities they've had have been good ones, too. Here's Lemieux cutting for the net. He's there. He shoots and scores. He beats Hextall. And the Penguins get a goal to get back into it. Oh, great balls to fire. Lemieux cashes in on the power play. Well, they put it over the left shoulder of Ron Hextall.
And the lead pass was the key there. Lemieux getting the pass from Bodger, I believe, out of his own zone and cutting across that blue line around the defense. Was able to work his way around the defenseman in on Hextall on the forehand. He snapped the puck past Hextall to make it 5-2.
Lemieux put it up inside the post, up high over the glove-hand side of Ron Hextall.
Well, he was in tight, too, when he took the shot and was able to snap it upstairs on Hextall. LaValle and Mantha assisting on the Lemieux goal, and So
it's now a 5-2 game.
It was LaValle who made the lead pass to Lemieux.
Buskus trying to cruise back into the Flyers in, and it comes off the near side, going to Quinn. Quinn goes behind the Philadelphia goal. Off to the left point to Doug Bodger. Bodger trying to find Dan Quinn. He goes right in behind the Flyers net. Now picked up on the near side by Brad Marsh. Marsh. And I think Marsh hits a piece of it. Now Quinn and Sutter get the sticks up. Ron Sutter and Dan Quinn. And
one
we've got
thing
some
about
more
the
penalty time coming up here.
Sutter yapping away at Quinn, too, and Quinn talking back, but it's too late to... Sutters will jaw at you all night. Sutters do a lot of talking. Even when they're sitting on the bench and you're going by, they're yelling at you the whole night.
You got to remember, too, that Quinn coming over from the other division, Sutter might try to establish himself here is to try and get the number very quickly on Dan Quinn, because they'll be seeing each other a lot during the course of the upcoming years. High sticking call to both men. And this faceoff will be outside of the Philadelphia blue line.
Ronnie Sutter playing without his brother now. Richie Sutter moving on to Vancouver.
Peter Zezel in here for the Flyers against Mario Lemieux. Lemieux with Ruskowski and Dan Frawley now on the wings. Lemieux's 27th goal of the year, getting the Penguins a goal here on a power play with Dave Poulinoff. And the Penguins work it into the Flyers in where it's cleared systematically by Philadelphia. Back to the Penguin line, Jim Johnson trying to get it to Ruskowski. He couldn't touch it. Would have been a two-line pass, and Shell Samuelson drills it around the boards. Into the Penguins end. Frawley gave it to Brad Marsh at center ice. Marsh of Philadelphia couldn't lead it ahead to anybody, and it comes bouncing free back and forth the center ice area. Now into the Penguin bench. A loose puck there. We've got 3:10 to go as we get a stop in the play.
Well, Mike, we've talked about it before this year, although now it seems like the trend is almost maybe not as significant, but the Penguins have had problems in the second period all season here at home, and tonight's game no exception, although you get the feeling that it's not so much that they're playing good first and third periods and bad second ones. Right now, the Penguins just aren't playing that well for 60 minutes in the last few games, although they just exploded against Toronto.
And Billy Siren from the draw. Rolled it in behind Ron Hextall. He'll leave the puck this time for Samuelson. Samuelson dished it off in the left wing. Derek Smith trying to get a hand on it. Can't do it. Peter Zezel, though, will get command of the puck for the Flyers. Swings behind his own goal and flips it up in the air. Bouncing puck comes all the way back to the Penguin net area. Billy Siren with less than 3 to go in the second period. 5-2. Philadelphia leads here in Pittsburgh. And Brad Marsh of the Flyers looking to get it ahead to Derek Smith. They will. Poked into the near corner, and Dave Brown went after it. Johnson beat him to it, but the Flyers come up with it again. Brown now to Howe. He shoots and scores. Mark Howe with a slap shot. And the Flyers simply beat the Penguins with the puck that time. And Howe overpowers Meloche and beats him to make it 6-2 Philadelphia.
Well, Dan Frawley having problems in his own end along the boards there. He's the right winger trying to come out of his own zone. The one time he got the puck, he threw it out to center, but it came right to Marsh, so he brought it back in. And Brown just overpowering him along the boards, able to get the puck over to Howe, and he snapped it. I mean, he fired that puck in a hurry. And Howe getting the goal. Brown made the play because the puck popped loose. And Frawley was trapped along the boards, and it came right to Howe, and he shot it in.
Well, the Flyers have had 5 shots in the period. They've scored 4 times, and they've been good scoring chances, too. They've taken full advantage of the opportunities that have presented themselves. But to be fair about it, they've worked for those possibilities, too. They really have. And the shots are a little misleading. 22-13, believe me. Flyers have played very well. Up to center comes Shabbat. He'll take a chance on the Flyers in. Trying to go to Duguay, and Howe cut it off. Duguay gets it back, though, and throws it to the net, where it is stopped by Ron Hextall. Now Stanley and Dave Hannon, and here comes Stanley with his gloves off. He'll get an instigator penalty here, I'm sure, and Busquets jumps in. So Busquets will be gone. Probably is the third man in on the altercation.
Well, he's trying to protect little Davey Hannon. Dave Hannon dumping big Daryl Stanley. Suddenly, Dave Hannon looked up and said, "Oh, my, did I do it to him?"
Well, it doesn't matter for the size as far as Davey's concerned.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't care.
But there are 2 guys on this team that you don't want to get involved with in this situation. One of them's Dave Brown, and the other one's Daryl Stanley.
Well, Daryl Stanley and Rod Busquets are both going to be ushered off here to the dressing room. I believe that Busquets may get a game misconduct penalty. I'm not going to bet on it. I think Stanley, for dropping the gloves and coming after Hannon, may get an instigator situation. And Hannon's, he's not an angel. He can get in there and cause some problems too. I'm not saying he didn't do anything to provoke this, but look at Stanley. He came right after Davey. And again, the Flyers say, hey, if you want to do that, then we're going to talk back. So we'll be there, too. Now, linesman Kevin Collins talking to Bob Myers, and he may have seen something that folks didn't.
The Flyers have a way, Mike, and I'm sure you've seen it, and you know too well. You've seen it too much, probably, but when they get you down, they also tend to rub it in your face at times. We've seen when the Penguins have played them in the last couple of years, the games haven't been that physical. There hasn't been a lot of this stuff because the Penguins have been more involved in tight-checking, kind of grinding games with them. With the Flyers getting the big lead, the Penguins get frustrated, and the next thing you know, the Flyers are bringing out all the dogs.
They'll have to take Rod Busquets' stick off the ice. The gloves now, they have to leave them there. Wiskowski pleading his case with the referee.
Trying to even things up a little bit.
Face off from outside of the Philadelphia line. Dave Poulin couldn't control. Hannon will get it over to Billy Siren, and Siren snaps the puck in behind goaltender Ron Hextall. 6-2 Philadelphia, second period, and the Flyers unable to clear the zone for a moment. Now Tim Kerr rambling back to center. Left wing to Murray Craven. Craven trying to beat Billy Siren. Got a man in front. Kerr, and it went right by the goal mouth. Off to the right wing boards. And Brad McCrimmon trying to make a play. Can't do it. John Shabbat with a minute and a half to go in the period. Shabbat moves back into Philadelphia territory. Shabbat's pushed wide by Mark Howe. And the Flyers will bring the disc back to center ice. Up with it is Poulin. Poulin right into the Penguins in on the near boards. He is hit on the play. And the Penguins whip it back the length of the ice. There'll be an icing call here against the Penguins. Well, the Flyers returning back home tomorrow night. The Penguins will be off, and they will play in Montreal on Monday night and in New York against the Islanders on Tuesday. And then enjoy a little Christmas time and then go right back on the road the day after Christmas to Buffalo. Depends on this home game and then 3 straight on the road. Shel Samuelson, of course, for the Flyers out here with Doug Crossman. There is some conjecturing going on that the Rangers might be using Bob Froese as a possible trade incentive to the Washington Capitals in an effort to maybe try and get Bob Carpenter out of there. They've got 2 first-rate goaltenders now in Froese and Van Beesbrook. Here are the Penguins, though, working the puck back into the Flyers in a shot off Hextall's stick and up into the seats. And frankly, you're going to have a very tough situation again in New York if Van Beesbrook and Froese are forced to compete with one another again. You would think that Hextall taking over the #1 job here in Philadelphia this year, but Van Beesbrook led his club last year, was the MVP of the team, really got the Rangers through the playoffs as far as they went with some tremendous goaltending. And then you're going to say to Van Beesbrook, we're going to move Froese right in. However, in hockey, as in baseball, in my opinion, you can't have enough goaltending. It's like pitching. You've just got to have those guys, because at any time somebody can come down injured, and that can help your case. Now Hextall leaving the puck. And the Flyers have another good young goaltender in their farm system, too, that they're counting on. I can't give you his name, but I know they're pretty high on him. Penguins from inside the Flyer line. Cunnyworth looking right wing, going to Willie Lindstrom. Lindstrom swinging in behind the Flyer net. It comes to Cunnyworth. Back to Lindstrom. Off the boards. And that one again comes high over the glass and up into the 5th row of seats here at the Civic Arena. Flyers led 2-1 at the end of the first period, but they've owned the second period against the Penguins. The Pens only go on a power play effort by Mario Lemieux, his 27th of the year, but the Flyers getting a shorthanded goal, a power play goal, 4 goals on 5 shots. Wiskowski to handle this face-off. Official timekeeper keeping the time here on the game, as they do on the clock, too. They've got an official scoreboard clock that they keep the time on, and also one that they do manually. In the face-off to the right of the Flyers' goal, it is picked up by Brad McCrimmon, the Flyer defenseman. He'll bang it up the sideboards. Bodger retreating. Dave Brown. And a mistake in front to Brown. His shot just missed going in. As Meloche got to go off his shoulder, it appeared. Back come the Penguins. Mario Lemieux, penalty coming up against the Flyers. Lemieux down the left wing. Zetzel took it away. With 10 seconds to go, we'll get a penalty again against Philadelphia. Well, the Penguins are 1 for 5 on the power play. Flyers again will be penalized. Boy, the Flyers just came that close to getting goal number 7 as Dave Brown was left alone in front of the net. And Dave Brown will draw the penalty.
Number 21, Dave Brown, 2 minutes for slashing. Down to the penalty in 1950. Brown,
1950, the time of the penalty to Dave Brown. Philadelphia with a 6-2 lead right now. And the Penguins have the power play on. Jersey 3-0 in the second. And Chicago now leads Boston 5-2 in the third. Face-off controlled by the Pens, but it comes back to center. Poulin with 4 seconds. Look out. 2 seconds comes in, and Lemieux pulled him down from behind. He couldn't shoot the puck. Poulin up for a penalty there. But Poulin, who had a shorthanded goal in the period, almost had a great chance again for another shorthanded goal. Well, the second period ends, and through two, the Flyers have the lead, 6-2 over the Penguins on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Power play. And then Mario Lemieux put the Penguins on the board to make it 5-2. Flyers got another one, make it 6-2.
Penguins right now on a power play effort here to begin period number 3. And the Flyers flirted off the wood, but not out. Lemieux on the left side of the Flyers zone. A slap shot blocked by Shell Samuelson. And it goes behind the Philadelphia goal. Fighting for possession, Kevin LaValle. Work free to Lemieux. Mario left point, giving the puck to Doug Bodger of the Penguins. Now to Mantha, back to Bodger, center point. Wide open, his shot. Hextall got it. The rebound is just wide as LaValle couldn't shoot it. And cleared by the Flyers, back down to Penguin real estate. 6-2 Philadelphia. Mantha up on the left wing, going to Lemieux, cuts across the ice. Wrist one right on. Hextall knocks the puck away, knocks the rebound away too. It'll come to Ruskowski. Ruskowski of Pittsburgh, right side to Kevin LaValle. 53 to go in the penalty. Left side to Bodger. He's open. Goes right side. LaValle's there. His shot. He missed the net. Boy, he had open net to work with there, too. Good play by Bodger. Lemieux is hit from behind by Ron Sutter. Goes to Bodger. Right point to Mo Mantha. Back to Bodger. Right side to LaValle, and he pulls the trigger on a slap shot. That again doesn't find the target. And away it goes. Up the ice.
Well, that's the best the Penguins' power play has looked all night, really, the way they're moving it around here to start the third period.
Quinn leaving the puck for Mantha. Time for a couple of rushes here for the Pens. They got to hurry, though. Lemieux into the Flyers zone. Bumped on the play by Ron Sutter. Got it to Craig Simpson. Simpson moves in. Back to Lemieux. Good pass. Jim Johnson there. His shot off the glove of Hextall. Was off the net, it appeared. Simpson was knocked down in front by McCrimmon. Now the right side, Quinn. Back to Jim Johnson. Goes to Lemieux. He's there. He moves in. Cross-rink pass to Quinn. He shoots. That stop. Rebound. He scores. Dan Quinn on the rebound. The Penguins make it 6-3. Well, Dan Quinn gets a power play goal for the Penguins with 2 seconds to go on the penalty to Dave Brown.
Well, you have to figure that the Penguins' immediate goal as they came out of the locker room was, let's get the first goal right here on this power play. Let's take advantage of this situation. Quinn took a shot. Hextall stopped him. He got his own rebound before Mark Howe could get over and tie up Quinn, and he got a second crack at it, was able to put it into the net to make it 6-3. And Lemieux threw it across to Quinn. He took that first shot. I think it was in the skates of Mark Howe, and he was able to get the puck back and shoot it into the net.
The Penguins are down 6-3 now as the Flyers give up the power play goal. And the Penguins have 2 power play goals against the Flyers. Siren cuts his way into the Flyers in. Goes behind the net to Hannon. Near side to Duguay. Center point, Bodger. And he'll blast one. Hextall actually had gone down on that shot just before it was released by Doug Bodger. Siren into the Penguin blue line area, looking ahead for Shabbat. He's pulled down. And Shabbat gathers it in. Penguins are now, 2 for 6 on the power play. Shabbat right side going to Hannon. Hannon breaks in behind the Flyers' goal. The Flyers' penalty killing has not been their real strong point this year, although they're in at 82% coming into this game. So it isn't that bad, and it goes in behind the Flyer goal. After it's Shabbat. Shabbat, the Penguins trying to get it going here, and Mark Howe steals, and he'll wrist it up ice. This will be an icing call against Philadelphia. Well, the complexion of this game starting to change a little. 6-3 Philadelphia. 17:07 to go in the third on the Penguins Hockey Network. Strode here in the third period. 15 minutes to go in regulation time, and Philadelphia with command of the puck, and Ron Sutter looking right wing. Gets McCrimmon. He'll go in deep. Now give it back to Ron Sutter. Going behind the Penguin goal. Centers in the front man right there. And they can't connect on the shot as Rick Tocchet had an opportunity. Now along the near boards. Mo Mantha. Good play by Ron Sutter to set up Tocchet. But the Penguins denied the Flyers from their 7th goal. Ruskowski push it up right wing to Mario Lemieux. Lemieux trying to get around Mark Howe. Gets a half a step on him. Flip it down to Bob Erie on the left side. Erie put it behind the net. Hextall, we've got an injured player down as Lemieux has hurt his knee on the play, and Lemieux is down on the right side of the Flyers zone. He was hit after making that pass cross rink. And Mario is down now as Steve Thomas, the Penguins trainer, comes out to check on him.
Well, he's holding that right knee. He was tied up with Mark Howe. He got kind of crossed up. Their legs got crossed as he went down the right wing boards after making the pass. Lemieux just came down the right wing. He made a nice move around Howe, and Howe tied him up, and then Mario got bumped along the boards, and the play came back over to the other side. We don't really know exactly what happened, but I do know that I saw Mario go down after being tied up along the boards by another player, and he got his leg caught somehow, and as soon as he...
And, well, make it 3-3 now. It's a 3-3 tie there, Buffalo and Toronto. And here, the puck is moved back into Philadelphia ice. Hextall comes way out of the net. He'll gather it in himself. Hextall flip it around to Doug Crossman. Crossman played it up the body of Ron Duguay. On the near wing, Dave Poulin lost the puck. Shabbat of Pittsburgh trying to make a play. Goes to Searin, his shot, and a good save there by Ron Hextall and Billy Searin, who snapped that one off in a hurry. Now in front, Shabbat. Couldn't tee it up, and the Flyers will ramble out of their own zone. Tim Kerr, left wing pass. Over to Derek Smith, and Searin cut him off with the pass. Takes the puck, too. Played it around to Doug Bodger. Up ahead to center now to Shabbat, 2-on-2. The Flyers line, make it 2-on-3. He's bumped enough to force him off the disc, and J.J. Dino of the Flyers had it for a moment. Mantha returns. He's got the puck to Shabbat. 2 men back as he cuts down the right side. The Flyers in a change. He stops, puts it in the slot area for Lindstrom, and just beyond his reach. Jim Johnson giving the puck now to Mo Mantha. Up ahead, left wing Lindstrom. He just couldn't handle it in the skates. And Shell Samuelson with that long reach reaches in to take the puck. Knocked down by Cunnyworth. The puck rolled around up ice for the Flyers. And Searin will touch it. We'll take a timeout. The Flyers don't look as strong as they did in the past.
Good save by Hextall on Billy Searin. Penguins working hard, trying to get back into this hockey game. Down 6-3 with 12:55 to go in the third period.
Well, it's been a long hockey game tonight for some reason.
A lot of fights and, well, not fights, but there were a lot of stops and scuffles and then discussions afterwards, of course.
And the Flyers do have control of the puck from the draw. At center ice, Pelle Eklund. Eklund had it poked away back into the Philadelphia zone. Shell Samuelson bumped by Lindstrom. And back and forth they go, and finally with the puck is Jim Johnson. He'll shoot it away to the Flyers in. Ron Hextall, the Flyers netminder. Around the boards for Darrell Stanley. Stanley back on. He had a major penalty in the second period. Ahead down to Eklund. Eklund comes down, fakes a shot. Jim Johnson just took the puck right away from him. He waited a bit too long to shoot the puck. Buskus banned on the attempted flurried pass. It comes back behind the net to Eklund. Eklund trying to center. Flyers have people in behind the goal now fighting for possession. Eklund in trying to beat Quinn. Eklund was hit in the face with a stick. He'll be slow in getting up. Quinn got his stick up into his facial area. And the puck worked by Pittsburgh back to center. Darrell Stanley gathers it in. He'll cut to the Penguins in, and he is hit by Buskus on a solid check as he lined him up. Good clean check by Buskus. And I think Stanley was waiting for it, too. He anticipated that happening. Simpson cutting back into the Flyers zone, trying to make a play to the slot for Cunnyworth. The Flyers do have it. Hell, it is Zezel being hit by Dan Frawley. Brad Barsh of the Flyers. Turn it over back to center, and it sails through to the Penguins in. The Flyers in the period have only one shot here in the first 8.5 minutes. Frawley looking right wing. Can't connect on a pass. Mark Howe turns it over to the Penguin line. The big story right now for the Pens is how serious is the injury to Mario Lemieux. He went off here in this third period with a knee problem. Back comes LaValle. He shoots and scores. It's 6-4. Wow. By Sam a drink and get his dog one, too. It's not over yet. LaValle just blasted that one by Hextall. The Flyers are just not motivated here in this third period.
Well, they get a little lazy, a little fat and happy, leading by a big score. And LaValle, now I think Ronnie Hextall might know a guy who shoots the puck pretty well in the National Hockey League, Kevin LaValle. He may not have heard a whole lot about him, but now he'll remember when Kevin LaValle's coming, look out. He might be ready to blow it by you because he can shoot the puck. And he got all of that one, and that thing exploded past Ronnie Hextall to make it 6-4. Frawley and Simpson assisting. And the Pens really are back in this hockey game with 11:17 to go.
Yeah, there's a lot of time, and the Flyers have just kind of got into a shell, and the Penguins trying to take advantage of it. This is not a typical Philadelphia game right now, the way they would play. They would be up 6-2, and they would keep coming at you and just ice it away, and it'd be all over. But it's not been the case, and the Penguins, to their credit, have bounced back. Bodger from behind his own net as we go back to play. Right winger Ruskowski. A goal here can put the Penguins back into it quickly. Here into the Flyers in. Down the slot he comes. Shoots it right on. Save made. Rebound. Searin shoots it. The save by Hextall again. Left point. Bodger. Whip it to the net. It's blocked in front. Dave Brown of the Flyers takes it. And he'll clear to center. But it's all Pittsburgh right now as they buzz like bees around a hive. Bodger right side to Quinn. He'll have a chance. Flyers off. Slap shot. That is wide. The puck was on edge when he shot it. And he couldn't get the good direction to it. Talking to Philadelphia to the Penguin stripe. Johnson stands him up. pocket and his helmet knocked off. Back come the Penguins. Erie on the left wing, 3-on-2. Rink wide pass to Ruskowski. Ruskowski moving in. Got Quinn, man in front. Erie, but he's pulled down from behind. Never got the shot off. Never got a chance. Rod Sutter of Philadelphia. Weaving his way back to the Penguin line. Poke checked off his blade. Hannon trying to pull it in. Can't quite do it, though. Brad Marsh of Philadelphia. 10-12 to go. Third period. And the Flyers lead 6-4. And a puck into the crowd. Timeout right here in Pittsburgh. Flyers by 2 on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Coming down the right side with that left-handed shot. He had plenty of time. He cranked it up, but as Mike said, it was on edge, and he blasted it wide of the net. Then Bob Erie was cutting to the net, and he just couldn't get the good shot away. He was tied up from behind. And the crowd really sensing the Penguins back in. What you find out about hockey teams, the Flyers, of course, a team that does like to bury you once they get you down, but they do seem to have kind of gotten a little bit lazy here in the third period. And you wonder if they're not able to just turn it right back on again. Coaches will say that nobody can turn it on and off like a faucet, and they like to see their team working all the time, regardless of the score. But the Flyers obviously having trouble doing that in the first part of this third period.
Dave Poulin, the Flyers captain, wins the faceoff at center ice and throws it back to the Penguin net. Jim Johnson of Pittsburgh. Penguins seem to get a lift with Lemieux going out of the game with a knee problem. And of course, that happens once in a while when your star player goes on the shelf. And you just got to reach back and come back with something else, and it sparked the Penguins. 7-4. Edmonton leads Los Angeles now in the second period. Gretzky has scored 2 more. He now has 35 on the year. Luke Robitaille with 1. He has 22, the young rookie.
Well, we were mentioning before about Bob Berry changing the lines, making a lot of line changes. He even told me last week that he really doesn't like to do that. Scotty Bowman, a coach who was famous for switching his lines in the course of a hockey game, never mind between games. But I think Bob would just soon be able to go with the same lines all the time. But when you're not getting production, you've got to try something.
Well, you certainly do. And the guy, you talk about Scotty Bowman doing it. He won 4 Stanley Cups with Montreal. Al Arbor certainly was supposedly a magician and a genius. All the line shuffling he did during games, too. So it can pay dividends. It can work. And the Flyers control the face-off, and Mark Howe wristing the puck back into the Penguin zone. Bodger in the near boards. 6-4. Flyers lead. Bodger had it taken away by Kerr. Kerr goes rink wide with a pass. Nobody there except Ron Duguay. He'll spin it around the horn for Doug Bodger. Bodger's pass for Hannon off his skates, and it goes to the Flyers zone. Hextall sent it up quickly to Derek Smith, and he blasted all the way back in behind Joe Malash. Bodger defensively paired with Billy Siret. Bodger's pass, nobody home on the left wing, and Mark Howe corrals the puck in Philadelphia territory. 9:15 to go here in the third period. And the Flyers lead by 2. O'Malley picks up the puck. He had a big goal, had it stripped off his stick nicely. Zierer knocked out one of the Flyers. No penalty call there, and there should have been one there. Zezel was just hauled down by Billy Siret. Picked up by LaValle. LaValle behind the net. He is dumped off his skate by Darryl Stanley, and play is whistled down. Well, Myers apparently is not going to make too many calls now the rest of the way.
Well, LaValle upended after Siren had upended Zezel. LaValle looking for a penalty, but maybe he didn't see what Siren did to Zezel.
Helping to help that play along, although I think it was pretty obvious that there was one there. But he has a knack, the ability to...
Well, he's a soccer player, and if you know anything about soccer players, they're tremendous at taking dives and rolling around and acting like they're dead. And
you bring the ambulance. You bring it on. And one of these times they're going to do that. The ambulance will be needed. And they'll just leave them there. I've seen that happen. I've seen them play wolf so many times, and guys just left them there, and they were hurt. Here's Malash giving the puck to LaValle. Flip it up ahead. Like a good old wrestling match. You lay there for about 20 minutes and screaming and crying, and then you get up and you jump up like you got all the vigor in the world, and you go right back and play again. That gets old after a while. Simpson carries the mail. Left wing to LaValle. He wants to shoot it again. Does, right over the head of Hextall. He's thinking about number 16 right now. Far boards, the Flyers, can they clear? They can at the blue line. It comes free to Zezel. 2-on-2. Zezel now left wing, Sinisalo. Zezel swings wide. Johnson watches him put it towards the net. Off his skates goes one of the Flyers. It was Darryl Stanley. And the Penguins have it. Simpson, good pass ahead, going to Momantha. Or Frawley on the left wing. Looks for LaValle. Got a step on Crossman. Comes in his shot. And Hextall stopped him from short range. LaValle is the type of guy, when he gets hot, he can put him in a hurry. And Billy Siret going back into Penguin ice. 8 minutes to go in regulation time. 6-4 Philadelphia. A steal by Frawley. Fires in, left side, put it in front. It goes right off a shoulder. Frawley goes behind the net. Frawley looks for Cunneyworth, banging up the board. Searin, he backed up on the play. He didn't go after the puck, and the Flyers come out 3-on-2. Right side to Dave Brown. Taken away from him by Doug Bodger. Cunneyworth might have some room here, but he can beat Samuelson. He comes in. Samuelson bumped him on the play and just took the puck away. Shell Samuelson looking for Brown. A weak pass attempt, but it does come through to Pelle Eklund. And Eklund throws it behind the Penguin goal. Mantha force it back to center. Not able to get too much strength on those passes at all. And you can see where Mantha is struggling with the bad wrist. And it's bounced away to the right wing corner of the Flyers. The right wing corner. Going for it is Murray Craven. Craven put it behind the net. They'll leave it for Marsh. Quinn is pulled down. Play goes on. Marsh to center ice. Quinn has to hurry to get back in the play. There'll be no penalties apparently the rest of the way. And Meloche going near side. It's okay if it's consistent. And Randy Cunneyworth trying to get it ahead. Cannot do it. Where's the puck? Craven had it caught in his glove, and play is whistled out.
He's on the ice holding his knee, and a very similar situation with Lemieux.
Into the left wing corner of the Penguin zone. The Flyers work the puck now behind the net to Ron Sutter. He tries to center. It's loose in front. And the Penguins will get a piece of it that cleared away from the net. But Ron Sutter fires it in. Meloche has lost his goaltender stick right now. Billy Searing trying to get it to Bob Erie. Searing can't do that, so he winds it around the boards right wing for Terry Ruskowski. Ruskowski shoot it up ahead back to center. Flyers lead 6-4.
Boy, you have to feel for Ruskowski, a right winger. He's normally a center most of his career. He's been playing left wing since coming to the Penguins for most of the part. And he has to take that pass coming around the boards on the forehand, facing back towards his own zone, and then have to make a play coming off the boards. And it's a difficult adjustment to have to make. And you can tell that Ruskowski is using every ounce of fortitude that he has to try to make that play.
The Islanders lead the Rangers 5-2 now in the third period. Quebec's jumped on top of Minnesota 3-0 at the end of one. It's now 8-4 Edmonton over the Kings. And that brings you up to date on what we have of late. The Capitals lead St. Louis now 5-3 in the third period at Washington. And the puck off into the crowd on the far side of the Philadelphia zone as the Penguins run it in. Montreal leads New Jersey now 3-1 in the third period.
In the third, Washington 5, St. Louis 3.
And that's it, folks.
No, Ron Duguay having problems offensively. He started the season with 11 points. Just ripped them off pretty quickly. 8 of his first 9 games. And then he's 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points in his last 21 games.
How about the Flyers? In this period, they've had only 1 shot in the period. We now have 6:03 to go. Penguins have had 8. And they have scored the only 2 goals of the period. Dan Quinn on a power play, and Kevin LaValle is 7th.
Well, I'll tell you, where the Flyers will bury you when they have a big lead on you is at home. They are only a 500 team on the road coming into tonight's game, although they haven't played that many road games. But when they're at home, they really bury you in those situations.
Shabbat working, get up behind the Philadelphia net to Dave Hannon of the Penguins. He is pulled down by J.J. Daigneault. Play goes on. Ron Duguay. Duguay to Shabbat. Shabbat now hit from behind. Oh, he's crunched by Poulin once, twice, 3 times. And Hannon gets the puck. And now he is hit and hammered from behind by J.J. Daigneault. And Kerr leads the rush back. Coming to the Penguins in. Kerr down the left wing. Moves in. His shot stopped. The rebound. And decked on the front of the net was Derek Smith of Philadelphia. He runs into Jim Johnson from behind. They'll get the sticks up, and they'll be firing at each other right now because Myers will call nothing apparently the rest of the way. And it's just freewheeling time. You can clutch, hold, grab, do anything you want to do to keep the other team from getting the puck. And Ron Duguay.
You wonder if there's a place where a referee draws the line in that situation, if he ever is going to make a call, and you wonder how far the players are going to go to take advantage of that kind of approach.
Well, he gets to the point of no return is what happens because they just keep doing it, and it gets worse and worse, and there's not too much he can do, and the teams are going to scream if you call a penalty because of all the other things that were let go. Along the near wing and Penguin ice, Kevin LaValle shoots it off the sideboards. And it goes to Dan Frawley. Frawley looked ahead to try and connect to LaValle. It does come to Simpson. He'll flip it towards the net for LaValle. He shoots it just wide. Oh, my. Almost goal number 5 there for the Penguins, but LaValle just missed. Simpson playing center ice, and he made a pretty play there to set it up. Flyers steer it out of their own zone. It'll go slowly towards the Penguin net. Meloche will wave Bodger to the left of the goal and let him take it there. Doug Bodger, Penguin defenseman. Right wing to Simpson. That's off a stick. Coming ahead to Frawley. Frawley couldn't hold on to it. Brad Marsh force it right back to the Penguin line with 4:20 to go in the third period. 6-4, the Flyers lead. Hextall has to handle the puck in his own end. Around the far wing, Mantha cuts in deep. He's going to have to gamble now a little bit. Stayed right there, though, as Brad Marsh flip it around near side for Shell Samuelson. His pass off the skates of Murray Craven. And the puck goes into Penguin ice. Let's see if we have an icing call here. We do, against the Philadelphia Flyers. Less than 4 minutes to go. Third period, regulation time. Win of Pittsburgh in the left wing circle, the Flyers zone, and Craven beat him to the faceoff. It goes around the net. Hextall waited to mark Howe, but he couldn't clear. Mantha into the corner. Howe has it again. And he will get it out this time. He'll get it out 8 out of 10 times easily. It goes to Brown, left side. To Craven, a wrist shot. That's off the glove of Gilles Malage. Picked up now by McCrimmon. McCrimmon to Dave Brown. Brown hit from behind by Jim Johnson. Howe does come in deep to keep it in. Played in behind the Penguin goal. Mo Mantha. Left wing pass for Jim Johnson. Just couldn't push it up for Cunnyworth, and Pelle Eklund now giving it to Murray Craven. His wrist shot. That's off the blocking glove of Gilles Malage. 3:20 to go in the third period. 6-4, the Flyers lead. Willie Lindstrom will get the motor going. Lindstrom up to center. Lindstrom weave his way through traffic. Drop pass to Quinn. Back to the net, and it's off the stick of Hextall. Into the near corner, and Lindstrom fell on top of the puck. And he'll call for a face-off, I believe, in the Flyer zone, because Willie was pulled down or hit from behind on top of the disc. Yep, sure they will. Yeah, they'll have it outside the line because they say Lindstrom was the man that caused the face-off.
Well, Lindstrom going right to the net again and trying to get the stick on the puck, but he was tied up and then ended up being dumped in the corner. 3:08 to go. Flyers 6, Penguins 4.
Simpson joined by Bob Erie and Terry Ruskowski. Ron Sutter of the Flyers. Losing the faceoff, Billy Sirik. Sneak it on the left wing. There's nobody home there. And with possession will be Doug Crossman, and he'll just fire it away to the Penguin zone. The Flyers now have 3 shots in the period. They've had 2 here in the last minute and a half. From behind the Penguin net, Rick Tocchet. You got to figure they're going to have a few shots along the way. And the Penguins play it deep into Philly ice. Crossman just played the puck for a moment. Erie slammed him into the boards, trying to make a play there. That's how you can get that loose puck once in a while. Good play by Erie. Now Sutter trying to clear the zone. Got it ahead, and the Flyers do work it up to the center circle. Sutter and Ruskowski have some words. And Ruskowski, he's going to take anything. He'll belt for Sutter right back as he sticks him. Back it goes into Penguin real estate. Billy Sirik trying to get around Rick Tocchet. Tocchet up ahead for Ruskowski. And Roscoe shooting up the sideboards around him behind the Flyer net. Brad Marsh takes the puck. Got it to Lindsey Carson. Mantha had to backpedal on the play. 2:08 to go. Coming to Tocchet, right wing to center. He moves in. His wrist shot, glove by Malage. He looks for somewhere to go, and Bob Myers with a quick whistle. Calls for the faceoff. 2:03 left in the third period. It is 6-4 Philadelphia on the Penguins Hockey Network.
That's 6-4-2, 1985.
Well, the Penguins hoping for some late magic here as they trail by a pair against the Philadelphia Flyers with 2:03 left in regulation time. John Chabot against Tim Kerr, and Kerr's one of the better face-off men for the Flyers. Chabot beat him. Mantha around the boards, going to Duguay. Duguay shoots to the head. Shell Samuelson returns. He'll get there, and the Penguins are guilty of an icing play. That will hurt the cause a little. Islanders beat the Rangers. Final now 5-2. The Islanders win on the US Air scoreboard. Calgary on a Mike Bullard goal. His 10th of the year. They lead Vancouver 4-1 in the third. And Washington tonight beat St. Louis 5-3 in Washington. Montreal leads New Jersey now 4-2. That game in the third period at Montreal. Kerr against Chabot. Well, you don't see Kerr beaten cleanly on a play too often on a face-off, and Chabot did it the last time. Let's see what happens here. 1:53 to go. And what happened, Kerr just stepped into Chabot, and the Penguins come away with the puck. Dave Hannon into the right wing corner, and Hextall tried to clear. Could not. Mantha anticipated. Dropped it back to Chabot. Chabot around to the left wing corner. Dave Hannon is hit on the play. Can't come up with it. Tim Kerr. And to center ice. Poulin giving the puck to Derek Smith. Smith to the near corner. Bumped by Mo Mantha. And around behind the net, Kerr tried to come out and shoot it, and he is knocked down by Jim Johnson. There's been bodies all over the ice here this entire third period. There have been more hooking, holding, clutching, banging each other around than we've seen in a long time, but it's just been the way that Bob Myers has called the game here in the third period, and it's been consistent. Flyers again throw it in behind the Penguin goal. Malash will leave it for Bodger with 1:02 to go in regulation time. Lead pass to Kennyworth. Can't get around Howe, and he bumps into Howe. They both, or Howe goes down, and one of the other Flyers, too. Philadelphia, the best record right now in the National Hockey League. They're trying to win their 24th game of the year, and they're 48 seconds away from doing that. Into Flyers' ice. Kennyworth on the right wing board. He put it down along the far side for Lindstrom, but he is slowed enough, and the Flyers do capture the disc. Mark Howe lazily shoots it down into Penguin ice, and back to get it will be Doug Bodger. Bodger around for Willie Lindstrom. We've got a hurt player. Bodger is down back in behind the Penguin goal. Doug Bodger with the Penguins down in behind the Penguin net. And he was checked into the boards. Now the Penguins have already lost Mario Lemieux here in this third period with a knee problem. Bodger went back to play the puck, just whipped it around the boards, and as he did, he was hit from behind by Sinisalo of the Flyers. Kind of an innocent-looking check, really. Sinisalo just playing the body. Got hit in the facial area, too, but he's been having some problems with his chest and his bruised area. Now, what happened was Steve Thomas had to be summoned, I believe, from the Penguin dressing room to come out. He was checking on Mario Lemieux. The way Bodger already out of the game and not knowing the extent of his injury, and Bodger going to get himself back up. He appears to be a little stronger than Lemieux was. He may have just had his bell rung, too. And skating under his own power, he will come to the Penguin bench. By the way, the Penguins go to Montreal to play on Monday night. And then Tuesday in New York against the Islanders. This face-off will be in Pittsburgh ice with the right of goaltender Gilles Melas with just 28 ticks of the clock to go in regulation time. Our overtime show will be coming up after we finish tonight, so you'll want to stay tuned for that. Nice to have you on board on both our radio network and, of course, on the cable side on TCI this evening. Randy Kennyworth has left the ice. He's gone to the Penguin dressing room. I don't know what that's all about.
Pittsburgh penalty, number 15, Randy Kennyworth, 10-minute misconduct. Time of penalty, 19.
Kennyworth obviously said something to the referee, Bob Myers. That will cost him a few dollars. It will go to the pension fund. And a misconduct penalty. Left point of from the face-off shot towards the Penguin net. Mantha blocks that. Now the Valley of the Penguins trying to get it going with 20 seconds to go. Lost the puck. The Flyers have it. Eklund moves in, got a man in front, and Craven can't reach out and deflect it in. 12 seconds to go. Simpson on the move, going to the Flyers line. And he moves into the zone. Knocked aside, 4 to go, and the Flyers will make it 2-1 on the year against the Penguins as Ron Hextall appropriately stops the last puck in around his net as it was dumped up ice. And the Flyers tonight, the final score, Philadelphia has beaten Pittsburgh. The Flyers 6, the Penguins 4 on the Penguins Hockey Network.
Time. 1:16 left in regulation. Ulf Samuelson to Kevin Dineen, and he beats John Van Beesbrook. We're tied at 3 apiece. 3 seconds left in regulation. Mike Ridley to Tony McKegney. Steve Weeks stops most of it, but the puck rolls towards the goal. Looks like it's over the line, but the red light did not go on, and they called it no goal. Phil Esposito behind the bench last night, and he's saying, what is going on? So they had to go to OT, and OT. Dineen gets around Kurt Giles, beats Van Beesbrook. The Whalers win in overtime 4-3. At Winnipeg, the Nords blew a 4-1 lead. Paul McLean dropped it to Dave Ellett. And Malarchuk made the save, but Ellett put in the rebound. We're tied at 4. Great chance now for Quebec, but Eldon Toki-Reddick, who entered the game after the 4th Quebec goal, comes up big on Peter Stastny's breakaway. Neither team scored an OT, 4 apiece. Meanwhile, to Spectrum, that was Rick Mahar beating Glenn Resch, 6-5 Blues. Flyers answer on the power play. Kelly Eklund shoots it into the blue zone. Takes a weird bounce to Tim Kerr, who scores Kerr's 13th career hat trick, a Flyer record. Then with 8 minutes left in regulation, Doug Crossman to Dave Poulin, who puts it in the net right there, and the Flyers go on to win 7-6. Now, the Flyers' comeback against the Blues last night continued an amazing jinx for St. Louis. The Blues have not won a game.
6-4. But in the third period, their loss was even greater when Lemieux went down with a sprained knee. He's out for 3 weeks. The Penguins need to pull together against the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Montreal Canadiens, coming up next.